Hey, hey.
What you think about when you're born into a fire. Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. The brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves, we won't let the world burn away. Burn away, we feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face the world's mistakes. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. And we feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race.
Hey, what's up? Welcome. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to roll the intro. Here we go.
Hey daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is
8647.
Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know,
I'll put you in
Linda
prison.
and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Will Bird, and this is a Cold Beer Confessional. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for coming out. If you want to support the show, you can do that at coldbeer.fund, coldbeer.fund, where all my links are. We got Twitch, Kick, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, Facebook, TikTok, Rumble, and Discord, as well as links to donate to the show to pay the bills. Thank you guys for letting me do my spiel. Sad news for some. I guess others will probably be cheering it on. Joe Biden comes out diagnosed with an aggressive prostate cancer. Former U.S. President Joe Biden, who's 82, has been diagnosed with prostate cancer that has spread to his bones. A statement from his office said on Sunday. Biden, who left office in January, was diagnosed on Friday after he saw a doctor last week for urinary symptoms. The cancer is a more aggressive form of the disease, characterized by a Gleason score of 9 out of 10. This means his illness is classified as high grade and the cancer cells could spread quickly, according to Cancer Research UK. Biden and his family are said to be reviewing treatment options. His office added that the cancer was hormone sensitive, meaning that it could likely be managed with hormone treatment. In Sunday's statement, Biden's office said, last week President Joe Biden was seen for a new finding of a prostate nodule after experiencing increasing urinary symptoms. On Friday, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer characterized by a Gleason score 9, grade group 5, metastasis to the bone. Am I saying that wrong? Hold on, let me see. Metastasis? It sounds weird when I say it. Hold on. Metastasis. I said it right the first time. Okay. Metastasis. So the question that this is bringing, first of all, good luck to Joe Biden. Cancer's scary for everybody. I hope he can treat it. I hope they can do something about it. The question now arises, it seems to me that it's probably hard to believe that he just now found out about it. And it's already metastasized to his bones. While this represents a more aggressive form of the disease, the cancer appears to be hormone sensitive, which allows for effective management. After the news broke of his diagnosis, the former president received support from both sides of the aisles. President Donald Trump wrote on his social media platform, Truth Social, that he and the First Lady, Melania Trump, are saddened to hear about Joe Biden's recent medical diagnosis. We extend our warmest and best wishes to Jill and the family, he said, referring to former First Lady Jill Biden. We wish Joe a fast and successful recovery. But his sons could not be outdone, of course. Donald Trump Jr. I guess what people are bringing out is do the American people have a right to know? Let's say he did find out about this 2 years ago, and the doctors are like, "Well, it's not like quick acting. You're not like going to die right at the helm. It'd probably take years before you die, even if you don't treat it at all, right? Even if you don't treat it at all, it's probably going to be years." Does he have to come out and tell people that? Should the American people know? Obviously, if he's undergoing surgery or some type of treatment that could end up, unaliving him pretty quickly, like if he's going to be put under or something, that's something we hear about, and, plans are put in place. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird to think. I think, I know we don't even know Trump's real weight. I think they probably would have seen, like, the president gets a physical like nobody gets a physical, okay? Especially with Joe Biden being older and the president and getting these physicals, they definitely would have done blood work. And elevated white blood cells would have been a sign, right? And when they found elevated white blood cells, they probably would have went over them with a fine-tooth comb just to see what it was. It's hard for me to believe that they just now found out about it. I would say he probably found out about it when he was in office. But it's not like a thing where they're like, oh, you got like this widowmaker, you know, and you could drop dead like that. I think people probably need to know about that, right? Let's say you have something in your brain that's about to rupture. If you don't have surgery, the surgery is going to put you down and could be deadly itself, and you could just die at a moment's notice. Like you could just collapse and you'd be dead, like a brain aneurysm. I think that's probably something people need to know about. But a slow-moving cancer that's, I don't know. I don't know if we're responsible for that or if we deserve to know that, as long as people around him know. Hell, they hit one president that couldn't fucking walk, right? I don't know. It's just weird. It's strange. Donald Trump Jr. Is like a walking fucking train wreck, dude. He's like the example of like daddy's money and nobody can stop me and I do what the fuck I want, and it's just so bad. So Donald Trump Jr. tweets out, apparently he thinks all doctors are medical doctors because he says, what I want to know is how Dr. Jill Biden missed stage 5 metastatic cancer, or is this yet another cover-up? But her doctorate is in education. If he knew and chose not to undergo immediate treatment, and it had, right, it wasn't affecting his decisions, right? It's his prostate and his bones or whatever. And, you know, the doctors will probably tell you, like, even if you don't go treatment, you've probably got 10 years left to live, you know what I mean? Depending on the route of the spreading. But does Donald Trump Jr. think that everybody that has a doctorate is a medical doctor? How the fuck would Jill Biden know what the fuck is going on with his a nodule on his prostate and his bones? The fuck does that even mean? What I want to know is how Dr. Jill Biden missed stage 5 metastatic cancer, or is this yet another cover-up? I know some people had to call him out in the comment. You're a fucking useless trash and your daddy hates you. Your sperm donor is a cancer. This is an effort to push the fact that Biden was running the country as a vegetable under the rug. And then Junior responds, without question, this is just a ploy to hide that he's a vegetable. I just saw an interview with him where he did pretty good. He was more than polite. He was overly polite with what Trump's got going on right now. But yeah, her doctorate is in education. So I'm pretty sure that she would know what's going on with Joe Biden's cancer. It says, former Vice President Kamala Harris, who served under Biden, wrote on X that she and her husband, Doug Emhoff, are keeping the Biden family in their prayers. Joe is a fighter, and I know he'll face this challenge with the same strength, resilience, and optimism that have always defined his life and leadership, Harris said. In a post on X, Barack Obama, who served as president between 2009 and 2017 with Joe Biden as his deputy, said that he and his wife, Michelle, were thinking of the entire Biden family. Nobody has done more to find a breakthrough treatments for cancer in all its forms than Joe, and I'm certain he will fight this challenge with his trademark resolve and grace. We pray for a fast and full recovery, Obama said. In 2016, Obama tasked Biden with leading a cancer moonshot government-wide research program. Because his son, Beau, died of cancer too, right? The news comes nearly a year after the former president was forced to drop out of the 2024 U.S. presidential election over concerns about his health and age. He's the oldest person to have held the office in U.S. history. Well, just for now. Biden, then the Democratic nominee vying for re-election, faced mounting criticism of his poor performance in a June televised debate against Republican nominee and current President Donald Trump. He was replaced, the Democratic candidate, by his vice president, Kamala Harris. Prostate cancer is the second most common cancer affecting men behind skin cancers, according to the Cleveland Clinic. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, says that 13 out of every 100 men will develop prostate cancer at some point in their lives. Age is the most common risk factor. If you live long enough, you're way, way, way more likely to get prostate cancer. Dr. William DeHutt, the chief scientific officer at the American Cancer Society and a trained prostate cancer physician, told BBC that this cancer is more aggressive in nature based on the publicly available information on Biden's diagnosis. More aggressive in nature. In general, if cancer has spread to the bones, we don't think it's considered to be a curable cancer. He noted, however, that most patients tend to respond well to initial treatment, and people can live many years with this diagnosis. Dr. DeHutt said that someone with the former president's diagnosis will likely be offered hormonal therapies to mitigate symptoms and to slow the growth of the cancerous cells. Biden has had largely retreated from the public eye ever since leaving the White House, and he has made a few public appearances. The former president delivered a keynote speech in April at a Chicago conference held by the advocates, counselors, and representatives for the disabled, a U.S.-based advocacy group for people with disabilities. In May, he sat down for an interview with the BBC, his first since leaving the White House, where he admitted that the decision to step down for the 2024 race was difficult. Biden has faced questions about the status of his health in recent months. In an appearance on The View program that also took place in May, Biden denied claims that he had been experiencing cognitive decline in his final year at the White House. There is nothing to sustain that, he said. For many years, the president had advocated for cancer research. In 2022, he and Mrs. Biden relaunched the Cancer Moonshot Initiative with the goal of mobilizing research efforts to prevent more than 4 million cancer deaths by the year 2047. Biden himself lost his eldest son, Beau, to brain cancer in 2015. I also listened to the tapes that have been recently released where he was under investigation for the classified documents at the same time as Trump. And I know MAGA's making a big deal out of him. And he was slow, and there were pauses there. But I can't say nothing about him because my memory's shit, dude. If you ask me today what I did with something or where I put something, in 2017, there's no way I could fucking tell you. I mean, I might think of something and be like, well, I think I might have been thinking this, but there's no way I could tell you with any precision. So he talks slow. There are pauses. The prosecutor said that he did not think that he could get a conviction because Joe Biden sounded like, an elderly guy with poor memory. And MAGA latched onto that. He's not fit to be president. There's no way he could be president. There's no whatever. I get more confused, 100% get more confused trying to keep up with Trump's weave than I do with Biden talking slow and stuttering. But whatever. But that's the newest thing. That was the interview that I was talking about. Where is that? That is a BBC interview. Let's see. This says 6 minutes long. Hold on. Will this play? That's the next question. Oh, maybe it's this video. Why are none of these playable? Let's grab one of these. I think he was more than generous when talking about Trump and talking about the threat to democracy and the stuff that was going on there. Here's his interview. I don't think he does bad here in this interview. I've seen clips of it. I've not seen the whole thing.
The week we remember those who died in World War II, I've come to Delaware in the United States for a special edition of Political Thinking at the start of a new series.
It is sped up at 1.5 times, so just remember that.
Conversations with, rather than newsy interrogations of, those who shape our political thinking about what has shaped theirs. My guest this week is the last living president of this country to have been born during the Second World War, a man who says it shaped his beliefs and his values, a man who served...
Remind me of a funny topic. Uh-oh.
For 50 years as a frontline politician, as senator for this state, as vice president to Barack Obama, and then president of the United States. On this special anniversary, we invited President Joe Biden...
YouTube does not send out all notifications to all subscribers.
To reflect on the history.
Even when you turn on, you have to go in, hit subscribe, then click the bell, and then turn it to all, and you still might not get them all. You get most of them then, though.
And what it teaches us now.
Twitch is better about quick notifications.
Good to see you.
Real pleasure to meet you.
Honored to have you.
I'm told you know this place.
I know this place. Yep, it's Hotel DuPont. And this was the center of all activity in this town for a long, long time.
And am I right, you launched your senatorial campaign in this building?
I did, in the main hall downstairs.
Please come and take it.
Viewed almost as sacrilegious.
Yeah.
A young Democrat coming to Republican territory to announce it. No.
That was what, just 50 years ago?
That's all. That was yesterday.
Mr. President, thank you so much for talking to us.
Thanks for being here.
In this week of celebrations of VE Day, I've been looking back at a speech you made a year ago
I honestly think you did pretty good in this interview. The clips I've seen.
in Normandy for the 80th anniversary of D-Day. And you said, they knew beyond any doubt there are things worth fighting and dying for. It's a message of sacrifice. Do you fear that that message is being forgotten in America right now?
I do fear a little bit, and I don't think it's been forgotten by the people. I think it's being forgotten by the leadership a little bit. Excuse my cough. The fact is that my father and mother's generation knew what was at stake. They knew that that democracy was literally hanging in the balance. Adolf Hitler, had he won, had there been no united Europe and united with the United States, the United States has never been able to avoid a war in Europe. And so one of the smartest things we did after World War II was we formed NATO, because alliances provide security. And imagine had we not done that. So another thing, I've been to a landing on D-Day, a reenactment of that event, not on the 80th earlier, and coming in one of those boats, those landing craft, and the thousands of ships that were out there, and the tens of thousands of men and women, mostly men, who stormed the beaches, and then how they scale those cliffs. There's 6,000 grave sites there, 6,000.
That's what's in your mind on this week.
And anyway, I just. The world has gotten smaller. And so
I would be very apprehensive to express that Beau Biden's cancer was tied to burn pits. Though there does seem to be some cause tied to burn pits and different types of lung stuff and cancer, right? Beau Biden was a JAG officer. He was nowhere near these pits, right? It seems like if we were seeing brain cancer pop up in more people, it'd be people that worked the pits, people that were near the pits, people that had duty around the pits. Beau Biden was like in an office, even though he was at JBB Balad, and there were gigantic burn pits there. I remember seeing them. I remember working them.
Imagine if we didn't have NATO now, what will be happening in the Mediterranean? What will be happening with regard to activity by Russia and China in the region? But NATO is the strongest alliance in the history of the world.
You say imagine. Can you imagine it now? Because there are some people who fear that this Atlantic alliance, born in the Second World War, is now dying before our very eyes. Is that your concern?
It's a grave concern. I think it would change the modern history of the world if that occurs. Look, we are not the essential nation, but we're the only nation in a position to have the capacity to bring people together to lead the world. Otherwise, you're going to have China and the former Soviet Union, Russia stepping up. And when I say inflection points, there's so much change taking place so rapidly that there needs to be an ability to respond rapidly. And I just think to myself, what would have happened in the Middle East, as bad as things are now, were there no NATO? Do you think Russia and China would have stayed out militarily? I don't, anyway.
At the centre of NATO is this promise, isn't it? You called it in a speech I saw in Warsaw a few years ago, a sacred obligation, which is
sacred.
You defend each other. Do you think
Attack on one is an attack on all.
Do you believe that obligation is still respected by Donald Trump?
Well, he doesn't say it is. And I think the rest of the world, I know one of the only advantages of being the old guy is that I've known every major world leader in the last 30 years, and I know them personally. And I know all the major world leaders today. And I can tell you, the last meeting of the G7 meeting, the NATO 7, anyway, or the G20, which is a larger group, as we left the meeting, almost every world leader would pull me aside and say, we got to get
Yeah, that's part of the PACT Act. The PACT Act is still there. It is the promise to address comprehensive toxins. And basically, there's a list of presumed conditions, service-connected conditions. So basically, if you have brain cancer or kidney cancer or lymphatic cancer, a lot of things to do with lungs, respiratory illnesses and stuff, a lot of things to do with lungs and cancer and things, then they are now presumed service-connected as long as you served in these areas during these times and then you got it afterwards, which is really good. I got some PACT Act claims that are currently in. Stuff that I never had a sign of until I came back from deployment, and then suddenly it started happening, and I don't know how else I fucking got them. So now they're presuming that it was caused by the burn pits.
My democracy is at stake. Every generation has to fight to maintain democracy. Everyone's going to be challenged. And we've done it well for the last 80 years, and I'm worried that there's a loss of understanding of the consequence of that.
You've talked about a great threat to democracy. Do you really believe that there is a greater threat now to democracy than at any time since the Second World War?
Yes, I do. Because, I mean, look at the number of...
So this isn't a bad interview. We don't have to watch the whole thing, but I think he did good in this interview.
Said by this administration, the Vice President J.D. Vance complains about European freeloading, he calls it. The Defence Secretary, let me just repeat it. You know what they're saying in this administration. The US Defence Secretary talks about European freeloading. The Vice President talks about your country, the United States, bailing out Europe. There's an anger there. Have they not got a point?
No, they don't have a point. Look, you have of all the NATO nations, almost all of them are 2% right now. But what they've done is, when we were attacked, what happened on 9/11? They all responded. So,
by the way, so the only current member of NATO, right? The only member of NATO that's activated Article 5 is us. We activated the Article 5 agreement, which means if one's attacked, we're all attacked, right? We activated it after 9/11, and they came to help patrol our seas and our air. The country sent resources to help us out after 9/11 and make sure we were safe and another attack wasn't imminent. No other countries called on us since it was enacted.
support us. Look, imagine there being no NATO. Do you think...
I personally posted on Discord, and then so if you look at Discord, I always post it and tag at everyone. It actually posts twice. So there's one that says Biden has cancer, blah, blah, blah. I posted that. Then the troll bot that's in our Discord posted a few minutes later. That troll bot, when that troll bot posts, that's when the Twitch notifications actually go out. So I posted at like 10 minutes before the actual notifications go out from Twitch. But that's just a bot that's set up that gets the Twitch notification and posts it in Discord.
Putin would have stopped at Ukraine? Do we think Putin would have stopped? I don't understand how they fail to understand that there's strength in alliances. There's benefits. The cost it saves us money overall.
Let's turn to Ukraine, can we? Because you compared the war in Ukraine.
Anyways, we'll skip ahead. Let's throw this up.
What did you make of those scenes in the Oval Office? President Trump and President Zelensky.
I'm sure there's some editing done here, but you can't like take his questions and do like jump cuts in them without being able to see it. Like he answered really well here. And maybe he has good days and maybe he has bad days. I don't know. But he did good in this interview.
I found it sort of beneath America, the way that took place. And the way we talk about now that, it's just the Gulf of America. Maybe we're going to have to take back Panama. Maybe we need to acquire Greenland. Maybe Canada should be fit. What the hell's going on here?
I mean, there are Trump supporters that are fucking cheering it on. Like, what the fuck? Jesus Christ. But there you go. That's Joe Biden. He's got cancer. Trump came out and said heartfelt, blah, blah, blah. What the fuck? Red Step Stacker. What is this, Jay Ashbury? Shared this. I don't know if you guys, a lot of you haven't been around long enough to know who Red Step Stacker is. But apparently he says that Kirsten W. used to get her intel from him. Also says that JPEGs have layers, and that's how we know Obama was fake. 7 layers.
mid-October.
Let's see what this is, see if we can catch up to it. He's still live right now, but we'll see what it's about.
Happy Sunday evening, Redheaded Stuff Stacker family. It is a gorgeous and glorious day here in Henderson, Kentucky, and I hope where you're at too. Well, we got some good news. Now, I chased this down, and it took me a minute or two to confirm that the original source, or at least a retweet source, ReTruth, was posted on Donald Trump's official Truth Channel.
By the way, JPEGs do not have layers. Actually, specifically to JPEGs, if you want to export something as JPEG, you have to flatten it out. So like PNGs can have like a transparency layer. They can have multiple layers, a PNG file. But if I want to take that PNG file and make it a JPEG file, I have to flatten it. I have to get rid of all the layers. So you have to flatten that image to get rid of it. So I don't know. They can have a thing, JPEGs can have a thing called progressive encoding, I think is what it's called. And that just lets you display an image at a lower resolution and a higher resolution in the same file. But that's it. They don't have layers.
So here we have Donald Trump. I told you guys it was going to happen between 30 days and like mid-October that all of these court cases would come to a head. If you remember, I mentioned some of these people may not be tribunal. They might be more in a civilian court. And then some of them would be in a military court. For instance, Obama military court. Let's see. Letitia James would be in a civilian court. She didn't commit treason. Ladies and gentlemen, Michigan Swamp Hopper, I've got great news for you. You are now looking at, and if you can, screen grab this, and if you have Truth, post it on Truth. Or you could just go to Donald J. Trump's Truth page and retruth it directly from his page, because that will actually count. Now, what we are going to do is...
This is Donald Trump still feeding these retards bait, right? ReTruth if you want public military tribunals. What?
Tuesday morning, I think that the White House comment phone line is open on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I think it is, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, at like 10 a.m., some weird hours. So when those hours happen, I'm going to have another live stream to remind you to call the comment line and tell Donald Trump that you want public military tribunals for Obama and everyone else. Now, one person equals 10,000 people. The last time we played this game of calling the White House, that very evening on Air Force One, he mentioned, remember we called and we said we want our airwaves back, we want those networks shut down who are poisoning the minds of our loved ones? A lot of you called. I told you we only need 10 phone calls because 10 people equal 100,000 people. If you work at a major radio station or a television station in a large city like Los Angeles or New York or Chicago, the metric is when you call in, let's say you're calling in for the top 40. All right, this is WLAK, and we're taking requests for tonight's top 40. So when you call in and do a request to a radio station, that actually goes for a vote for the top song. And then sometimes they open up the phone line and say, hey, you can call in and vote for your favorite song of the week. We're going to do the top 10 at midnight. Your one call always equals 10,000 people. That is the metric. There's two metrics I know very well. As a salesman, 3 out of 100 persons will say yes to you. So when I was 16 years old, I knew that. And I figured all I had to do was ask out 100 girls, and at least 3 of them would say yes to me. And that was pretty accurate. I found that to be very accurate. For every 100 girls that I hit on or asked out, 3 of them would say yes. So we do have a very glorious day here. We do have a very beautiful day. This is Donald J. Trump posting all roads lead to Obama ReTruth for public military tribunals. And he's going to make them public so the whole world, so the angry half of America understands. This isn't taking a misdemeanor for Trump paying off some woman, whatever that was, or the payments, and then being divided into 34 payments, and they turn a misdemeanor into a felony, and instead of one felony, they divide it into the 34. I mean, that's a stretch. Now, if you don't know, many of you may know why Obama is the sticking point. The red flag is Obama's Social Security number comes from a man who was born in Connecticut and died in Hawaii the same time that Obama got his Social Security number. So it's a stolen Social Security number. It's the first 3 digits are 042. Right now, if you want to the whole story, you can go onto X, type in 042 Obama, and then it's going to say, are you looking for people? Are you looking for stories? Are you looking for posts? Pick whatever stories or updates or news or whatever, and it'll bring you to just hundreds of people. But these aren't just any people. These are verified, like every single story is from a verified X account, which means you're paying $10 a month to
Oh my goodness.
marked as legitimate. So if you're Jennifer Aniston and you want an X account, you have to pay $10 to verify that you're Jennifer Aniston. So
That's actually not true. Some people are paying for it. Other people just get it because they were already verified. They're already in the verified program.
these people with these verified accounts, who are people who have a much higher reputation than people like myself on X that do not have a verified account. You know, who are you going to take the news from? The verified account of Barron Trump or the unverified account, right? So I guess they have enough pieces of the puzzle now to use the evidence that came up in Arizona, and it was the same county that we're having all the problems in, but this sheriff is no longer sheriff. Now they got an Obama.
By the way, this has been a lie for years, okay? So this is a theory that the 042 Social Security number is Obama's and that it's linked to a guy who died in like 1980s. I think the guy's name's Ludwig. Is that his last name? I can't remember, but this is all stupid and none of it's true.
Soros sheriff in, but that sheriff verified that Obama's birth certificate was fake. And then many years later, 4 years ago, we were able to put it into Photoshop and separate Obama's birth certificate into 7 different layers. So if you're not familiar with Photoshop,
he even explains it right. Like before, there was some validity in trusting verified accounts, right? Because a lot of times they were journalists or people, like famous people or whatever. So you knew it wasn't like a troll account for like, Jennifer Aniston. It was actually the real Jennifer Aniston because X went through and verified that account to make sure it was the right person that they purported to be. Now anybody can pay $10. There's less reason to trust it now than there was before.
what you can do is you can literally screen grab something off your phone, put it into Photoshop, and Photoshop will tell you how many layers are here. For instance, there's at least 2 layers on what we're looking at right here. There is the layer of words, all roads lead to Obama, read truth. That's the top layer. The bottom layer is the picture and the black on the top and the bottom. So Photoshop would tell us that the photo that you're looking at on your screen right now is 2 layers. Obama's birth certificate is 7 layers, and the bottom layer shows the stamp.
Obama's birth certificate is 7 layers.
From Kenya that has the rooster in it. So this is the beginning of. The only thing here that's surprising me is they're starting at the top of the food chain, but the bottom of the food chain is going to start singing like a bunch of little birdies once they see the head man go down. So very interesting. This is a great time to be alive. We've known that for a long time, and I'm very excited. Let's see. And I did.
What a fucking lunatic, dude.
To open it up. So as the far lefties are scrolling,
they say, okay, Social Security Death Index, Jean Ludwig, 04226A722. Last residence was in Honolulu, Hawaii, United States. Born on 17 February 1890. 96816 Honolulu, Hawaii. Last benefit was received there. He died in June 1981. He was issued his Social Security number in Connecticut in 1951. That's who they're claiming Obama stole a birth certificate or a Social Security number from.
This will end up in their feed. So these live streams are much more valuable to, instead of me just singing to the choir like I already.
They also say that one of the reasons the 042 is important because 042 is a Social Security number that's only given to people, the first 3 numbers, 042, only given to people born in Connecticut. But the Social Security Administration has come out multiple times and says that they do not and never did correspond to what state you're in. It simply reflects the mailing address which the applicant has requested his newly issued card to be sent. The mailing address does not have to be the same as the applicant's residence address. It can be the address of a friend, relative, employee, rented post office box, or anyone else authorized to receive mail on their benefit on their behalf.
To the choir like I always do when we do a horizontal live stream. They don't share that with the rest of the world. These vertical live streams get shared with everybody. Let's see what I can read here with all this other stuff underneath it. Dr. J says, what kind of file would this picture be? I've heard this is a layer thing, but I can't remember. This is a JPEG. Photoshop can separate layers of anything because
JPEGs don't have layers. So there you go.
The birth certificate
He's already wrong.
Can be
right off the bat
from your phone, become a JPEG, and it could still separate the layers. So this would be a JPEG. This is a JPEG because what you're looking at right here, I screen grabbed off of Donald Trump's Truth. So if you go to Donald Trump's Truth, because I had to verify this was coming from Donald Trump, because the version of it I saw was originally posted or retweeted by Street Fighter 17. And I don't know if spiritual Street Fighter 17 is the same as Street Fighter, but I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Street Fighter. I'm just saying I do look up things people say to verify they're true, and there was a big time when that wasn't happening, when I was not able to verify him. And it was about the same time. You guys remember Christina B, the Asian woman who was in the Doors movie, and she was
Kirsten W.
She died while she was at an event with Michael Jaco and 4 other people who were not responsible for her death, but they were all at a Patriot movement. What Christina used to do, or Kirstina or whatever her name was, she used to watch my videos in the morning and then tell everyone what I said in the afternoon, and she would never give me credit. And she would say things for me. So what I did
makes sense.
Is I ended up with some audio of Zuckerberg saying some things, and I purposely took it out of context, and I reported exactly the opposite. It was about dumping a bunch of stock, and I reported the opposite of that and added a few details so I can catch Christina B stealing my crap. And she reported the story word for word verbatim as I did in the morning, and then I outed her, and then 3 months later she was dead at that event. with Street Fighter and somebody.
So you might have caused her to die. Damn.
That was with Mike Penny, and that's why if you guys ever wonder why I say 5x5, 5x5, and then Swampy or Gibby will put in 5x5, which means can you hear me? Because that's what they always did. Now, ironically, I made fun of Froggy News, when he said that Disney was eating babies. Disney's eating babies. Disney's eating all the babies. And then I had to retract myself because he was right, because Disney's eating the babies. That bastard was right, but Christina, not so much. God bless them both. They were patriots, but she was lazy. She didn't go do her homework. She just stole my homework, put her name on it, and reported it to everybody. So if you are a far left just joining us, your boy is about to go down, and we get to watch it on TV.
Oh, my God.
And for some people,
surely not.
Porn.
My boy's about to go down?
Well, I have screen grab things and taken the layers apart. Some people, this might be porn. JPEG does not have layers. Well, I have
JPEGs do not have layers, you fucking idiot.
Screen grab things and taken the layers apart from a picture that I took from my phone. So, I don't know what you call it. Maybe it turned it into something else, but nonetheless, on this previous channel
Well, maybe it turned it into something else, but I'm talking about the layers.
Like channel number 12, many of the people who are in the room right now watched a video where we took the photos apart. And maybe you're not thinking of Photoshop, maybe you're thinking of the other one. Also wasn't Photoshop that was used to reveal.
So I could take an image into Photoshop and ask it to break the image down into layers. But what it's going to do is it's going to try to emulate what I think like maybe I want the people in the layer and the background in the layer because I want to change the background. Now, clearly, it'll know the black boxes are layers that I might want to separate to change the text, right? But that doesn't mean that there's any type of layers embedded. You cannot embed that type of shit into a JPEG. It's not a thing. You can't do it. It's too simple of an image. There's not enough data in there. That's why a PNG file is so much bigger than a JPEG file, because you have layers. You have transparency layer. Like if I made this in a PNG image, I could have Donald Trump be a layer. I could have Barack Obama be a layer. I could have their chairs be layers. I could have the background be a layer and this picture be a separate layer. And I could turn those on and off. No matter, and I could send it to you and you could do the same thing. You could turn those layers on and off to where you could have nothing but just Trump's tie on the screen because you turned off every other layer, right? But you cannot do that with a JPEG.
Reveal the layers, it was Adobe. Maybe one of them can't. Maybe Adobe can't take apart layers. What file are you saying it is? Original file? Okay, well, whatever. This is getting a little far lefty. We're not arguing about what Photoshop can and can't do. We are saying that we saw the layers come apart of Obama's birth certificate. That's
oh my God.
Okay, that's plain fact.
Surely not.
You can take apart anything that is layered. They can, maybe, I'm sure it's Photoshop that can identify it. Maybe it's Adobe. One of the two of them can identify. Maybe you have to turn the JPEG.
Maybe it's not Photoshop. Maybe it's Adobe. Maybe it's not a Civic, it's a Honda.
Tag into something else. I don't know. Maybe it happens automatically. But you can take layers apart with Photoshop. We've already been down that river. We've already seen it happen. There are 7 layers to his birth certificate, and it doesn't matter. The motherfucker's gonna hang.
Gonna hang, guys. The tribunals are kicking off.
I did that. Okay, I can't read this very well with Street Fighter underneath it. Adobe makes Photoshop and Illustrator.
Keep telling him.
And I had a subscription to that for a very short amount of time. I think it was $49 for a month.
Very short amount of time.
I needed.
Yeah.
I tried to use it for editing. So anyway, bottom line is, let me read them. I'm taking the letters off for a second.
So he can't even use it to edit his videos, but he can deconstruct Obama. I could make a fake Obama birth certificate and put all kinds of layers on it. And if you turned off all the layers, I could just have, Rick Roll behind it, playing a video. What the fuck does that have to do with anything?
Our day's about to come. I said if they reverse...
These idiots think that there's about to be tribunals, military tribunals for Democrats, for crimes against humanity. That's what these retards think.
2 different things. I said, if they deny the Biden pardons, all shit hits the fan right away. I did not attribute that to another remark I made where I said that all of these trials were happening between 30 days and mid-October, and that we could expect Hillary to be last. Madison Marquette, in my opinion, is insane, but very intelligent and a very good...
Madison Marquette is the porn star turned QAnon influencer.
And a very good person, but...
She claimed that she never did porn, that she was trafficked into it. but I've seen splattered and baby battered 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. She wasn't in 4 for some reason. I think she was injured. Splattered and baby battered. She looked like she enjoyed it.
100% not there just based on what's happened in her life. She made statements that I truly believe are God's truth, that she was in a military tribunal. It was Joe Biden who was having a hearing. She told her lawyer that's not Joe Biden. The lawyer just said, play along. And Joe Biden was convicted of a lot of horrific things. And I can't remember 2 or 3 of the things. I don't want to misquote her, but she said that.
Who is Empire Ops? That's a cool name.
It's probably one of the first 1 or 2 videos on her channel. I truly believe that was true.
Empire Oops, maybe.
I have never been one of those people that said that Hillary Clinton is already dead and they got a replacement. I've never been in that boat because that in itself robs us as the American people of our constitutional right to know what's happening to our leaders. So I thought that would be, repaying a crime with another crime, in my opinion. So I've always stood by that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I would only say 10% of me is in the I could be wrong column, but I could be wrong. And what's happening to Obama right now could have happened 5 years ago. But I doubt it very much. But there is some suspect things that make me think that. Hillary Clinton getting arrested. They were holding her arms. I was never one to say that she had handcuffs on that day. I've never been in that boat because I can't see the handcuffs. However, everybody disagrees with me, and that's okay. Almost 100% of my viewers disagree with me and believe that she was getting arrested that day. I could not say that because I didn't see the handcuffs. I have to have the evidence before I say it out loud.
He has to have the evidence.
That's it.
And the evidence right now is that Donald Trump retweeted this tweet. So that means here it comes.
So
he's an evidence guy.
They were definitely holding her arms the way you would hold a prisoner. They were not holding her up at that time. They were not holding her to keep because she was holding her own body weight. But they did hold her as if she was under arrest, like you would see a closed policeman walking off someone that they've already handcuffed. That's exactly what I saw. What does concern me is whoever took the video.
Madison Marquette does claim that a bunch of televangelists, like big social media preachers, passed her around and raped her, and she was her husband at the time. Just crazy shit. Her own family denies any of this happened, okay? But she claims that. Then she claims that one day she was just picked up in a black SUV and they took her to the fucking White House and had a tribunal for Joe Biden there. And she had to testify against him. But she said, that's not the real Joe Biden. He was executed at Gitmo. And they're like, just play along. We have to do this for the press.
Never gave us any... they didn't tell us what was going on in the video. They just put out the video. The other part that concerns me is she was walking out of her daughter's penthouse apartment that day, and the person who took the video of her getting pushed into the van was not able to get us a video of her walking out of the building.
I can't remember all the people she said. Somebody in chat probably knows all the preachers she named. I don't know any of them.
And if you're a photographer, there was a bunch of photographers around that day. It was 9/11, 2020, the day Trump walked into office. It does concern me that we didn't see the hand.
There is somebody in his chat named Gertrude Springwater. She probably has an accent like mine. Gertrude Springwater.
So we didn't see her walk out of the building. Why didn't the cameraman have their camera up and ready? And if there were handcuffs on her, wouldn't the cameraman or the reporter tell us that? The person taking the video. Why put this video out there with nothing, just video, and let people guess? So if I am wrong and Hillary is gone, that's kind of concerned me as much as I want Hillary.
I haven't checked up on Madison Marquette. I think she now claims that the deep state caused her to have a miscarriage because, she was parading around like that pedo that she married while claiming to be rescuing kids who had life in prison for his shit, for his pedophile shit, that he was wrongfully accused, and claimed that they were pregnant together. They were having a baby together, but I think she claims the deep state caused her to have a miscarriage. I'm not sure.
To pay for her sins. But maybe there's a good explanation. So are we going to watch tribunals that already happened a few years ago? I don't know.
No, there's no tribunals. Y'all are idiots.
Many questions. As a matter of fact, probably half Trump, but Fannie will. And as I said.
Anyways, this is interesting to me, but it might not be interesting to you. We got some other things to get to. Anyways, what do we got? You guys want to get pissed off right off the bat? The Necessary Conversation podcast clip.
Mom, do you?
So there's a part of the show where he allows his mom to bring on whatever topic she wants to talk about. Okay? And she calls them her ditties, not to be confused with like no ditty. She calls them ditties like a ditty would be like a little song or dance you do. That's like a Southern thing, I think. but she calls them her ditties. So he says, Mom, do you have a ditty? And here we go. What did she want to talk about more than anything this week in the news? What do you think it is? What would his mom, far-right, Trump-loving mother of his, want to talk about in the news cycle more than anything else this week? I'll let you guess. Bow now, 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 bow now, now. Bow now, 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 bow. Ba-da-da-da-da. The plane, the royal reception for Trump, Biden, what a dick her husband is. No. You guys know it. You're just not thinking about it. Who do they want to throw in jail right now for an Instagram post?
You have a ditty.
I can't believe you didn't have this as a topic. Here we go. 8647. When I told you to look that up, you go, what? You didn't even know.
Yeah, he just said 8647, a funny number. James Comey tweeted this, right? Or posted it on Instagram or
He
something.
posted it on Instagram, said he found this.
Out of every story that she could possibly cover, she thinks he should be in prison for advocating for the assassination of the current president. When Donald Trump retweeted a photo of a tailgate that had a wrap on it that looked like Joe Biden with a gag and tied up in the back of their pickup truck, no one said a word. They sold merch that said 8646.
At a beach with seashells. Baloney. I'm calling the bullshit card on him. He knows exactly what this means. It means to take him out.
It means to get rid of him. I don't think it means to kill him.
Get rid of. Okay, of course. Yeah, liberals and Democrats don't think that.
Elon Musk did a salute, and you don't think he did that, so we're even.
No. Don't. I know you're just saying this in passing. Like, well, fuck, Elon Musk is doing Nazi salutes. So never give them we're even. Do not give them we're even over a Nazi salute. Even if you think that James Comey shouldn't have put this on Instagram, don't give them we're even. Those are nowhere near even.
Okay, whatever. I think he's already being investigated by the CIA, and they need to continue and they need to do something about this because that's just stupid.
What would they do about it, Mom?
Put him in jail.
Put him in jail for taking a picture of 4 numbers made out of seashells. They should put him in fucking prison. I don't know if you guys have seen my TikTok. A lot of people don't know that I'm like fucking around and trolling people or whatever. But my current TikTok is, do I have it open? That's Mr. Global, but we can get to it from here. Let's see. This is my current TikTok, and so many people are agreeing with it, and some people are just pissed and disagreeing with it. But here it is. Listen, liberals, snowflakes, if you say something mean about the president, you go to jail. That's how it works, okay? Okay? You keep talking all your crap about the president, you're going to jail. And you'll be lucky if the jail's in America. We might send you to El Salvador. Okay? The only reason we got away with it for years with Sleepy Joe is because he just wouldn't enforce the laws. He didn't enforce any of the laws, right? Do you want another J6? This is how you get another J6. Listen, liberals. They have no idea. But they honestly believe this, that he should be, like, people think I'm exaggerating the MAGA talking points. No. They think that James Comey should be in jail for an Instagram post with numbers that say 8647.
Elon Musk did a salute, and you don't think he did that, so we're even.
Okay, whatever. I think he's already being investigated by the CIA, and they need to continue and they need to do something about this because that's just stupid.
What would they do about it, Mom?
Put him in jail. He is insinuating.
Put him in jail for a tweet?
He's insinuating to assassinate our president.
Okay.
I can't believe you're laughing about that.
Please believe it.
They like I'm not making anything up. I'm not changing her words. She thinks that they should be put in jail. What is this? It links to another one. Oh, is it the full?
In the app.
It links to the full episode. We can't watch the full episode's an hour. We can't watch that, but there you go. They think that James Comey should be in fucking jail for an Instagram post that said 8647. How insane, dude. And then we're trying to have legitimate logical arguments with them about should due process apply to people. Like, of course they're not going to be able to have that fucking conversation. Of course they're not. They think that someone should be in jail for tweeting numbers. Idiots, dude. Idiots. They're insane, dude. Here's the next one I got. Denver stepping up. You can be proud of Denver. Denver is deciding not to renew a contract for their... Where is the threat? Are you fucking retarded? Where is the threat? I love how you come in with just retarded shit. What's the threat? They're deciding not to renew a contract with their camera company they have because of something else I'm going to show you in a second. About Donald Trump potentially using them to identify people that he wants to target. Here we go.
The city of Denver is not going to extend a contract for vehicle tracking cameras that are all over the city out of concern that the Trump administration might commandeer those cameras to hunt people down for deportation. This afternoon, City Council voted unanimously on the recommendation of Denver Mayor Mike Johnson not to extend this contract for the cameras because of those privacy concerns. Some progressives on council had been talking about it for a while. This is Councilwoman Sarah Parody.
We're living in an era where just this last week, actually, an executive order came out instructing the Department of Justice and the FBI to look for reasons to prosecute local elected officials and activists who they believe are, quote unquote, obstructing ICE enforcement. This kind of surveillance technology is a gift if you have that kind of ill intent. And the federal government...
That kind of surveillance technology that they were using is a gift to a government that would use it this way with their intentions, right?
Quote, obstructing ICE enforcement. This kind of surveillance technology is a gift if you have that kind of ill intent. And the federal government has that ill intent right now.
Denver's been targeted by the Trump administration because city employees, including law enforcement, will only work with federal immigration agents if they have a warrant. That's led to Denver being called a sanctuary city, threats of federal defunding, perhaps even the arrest of city of Denver leaders. That's been floated by the Trump administration. The city of Denver has a contract for those cameras, a pilot program that ends at the end of this year.
So they're not going to renew this contract. By the way, even if you look up the definition of 86, it says to eject or bar someone from a restaurant, bar, etc., to reject, discard, or cancel. So if someone says cancel Trump, prison, that's a threat. Under Title 18, Section 871, cancel Trump. 86 Trump. 86 him in his fat fucking face. Clip that. Fucking retards, dude. Anyways, the reason that this camera system could come into play or potential local law enforcement, listen to this. This kind of went under the radar. I don't think a lot of people were paying attention. Check this one out.
There are plans to place America's police directly under the control of the President of the United States. There's some pretty shocking reporting that right now is being broken by Phoenix New Times that outlines some pretty shocking things. So not surprisingly, this started with Project 2025 and a subgroup of that, which has something called the Border Security Work Group. And they've been drafting a plan. And that plan is to use local police, state trooper work group.
It says, meet the Border Security Work Group. Project 2025 was an effort by several far-right think tanks to craft a policy playbook for a second Trump presidency. Per materials we've obtained, the documents were created by a subgroup of the larger Project 2025 effort called the Border Security Work Group. This subgroup, which until now was unknown to the American public, was tasked with crafting immigrant mass deportation plans along with other law enforcement and national security policy. Okay? So keep listening.
They've been drafting a plan, and that plan is to use local police, state troopers, federal agents, and even the military into a single force, a fusion.
A fusion of single force, right? So everybody's on the same page. All the way down to your, this is why Denver getting rid of those cameras is a big deal. All the way down to your local police force, all the way up as high as branches of the military.
And this has emerged into a more detailed plan that the New Times is releasing slowly. And at the top of this command structure is
this internal Project 2025 plan calls for a command of domestic security operations that would oversee law enforcement and the military.
Something called the Commander of Domestic Security Operations. And that person would
the Commander of Domestic Security Operations, military deportation facilities, and it includes law enforcement on both sides of this.
be directly under the control of the president.
And that guy would be right under the control, almost like a cabinet member, right? Almost like a cabinet member. So the commander that has this connection to the military and all local law enforcement, state law enforcement, federal law enforcement would be right under the president.
So I want to point out that this is a developing story, and we're going to continue to learn more information as this comes along. So some of what we have is what's early reporting, and we still need to flush a lot of this out. So the work group actually identifies action items that have already happened. So one of the plans was to send people to Guantanamo. We know that did not work out. To activate the military zone on the southern border, which they have done, and then to use the IRS to identify people for deportation. Then the next phase of the plan is a comms strategy to really use really aggressive language to describe immigrants. I actually can't say the words on this video. To post dramatic videos of deportations, which we have seen. And then
that's a scare tactic, right? To post these pictures of them like dragging people away or snatching people up off the street or like intimidating music and environments and shit where they're snatching people to scare them.
Pressure cities and states to fall in line while criminalizing dissent. Part 5 of the plan calls for
criminalizing dissent. Criminalizing people, this is part of their plan, criminalizing dissent, people disagreeing.
For counterintelligence against journalists and lawyers.
Counterintelligence and the insider threat. Over time, the post 9/11 fusion center system turned on the American people in ways the general public did not anticipate. By contrast, the new militarized law enforcement structure contemplated in Project 2025 Border Security Work Group documents has civil rights ramifications built into its DNA.
We're already seeing that. And then part 6 is what happens next. So we're not just talking about immigration here. We're talking about giving the president complete control of America's police force under this one command structure. And
so basically, commands could roll out from the president. They go to the military. They go to federal law enforcement. That goes all the way down to your local police force desk with what he wants done from the president's desk.
That is, my friends, authoritarianism. And the blueprint, if it is to be believed, is actually quite credible because we have literally seen many of these things already happen. So really great article by Phoenix New Times. They're releasing more and more documents of this, and we'll continue to help recap that as it comes along. But make no mistake, the plan here is to centralize policing in America and to give control of all of those organizations under fusion centers to the President of the United States. This is America.
So this is the article that I'm going to read from. This is actually scary. For months, a Project 2025 subgroup drafted plans to place domestic law enforcement under Trump's thumb. We have their files. Since Donald Trump's inauguration in January, his administration has ruthlessly prosecuted his promises of mass deportations. He has sent deportees to Gitmo, a terrorist prison in El Salvador. He has placed control of the southern border in the hands of the military, and despite promising to focus on hardened criminals, the administration has widened its immigration dragnet by targeting documented and undocumented immigrants alike. Trump has done much of this in defiance of the judiciary, while claiming an amount of executive power previously unseen in American history. To the average American, this administration's approach may be reminiscent of an angry monkey hurling shit at a wall. But these anti-immigration immigrant measures echo a plan that was meticulously crafted out of public view over at least the year preceding this Trump presidency. The purpose of that plan is to drastically restructure domestic law enforcement under the command of the president. The president would then have the machinery to target immigrants en masse and to crack down on those who oppose him. These plans and the identities of those who authored them have remained secret until now. Cochise Regional News and Phoenix News-Times have obtained a trove of documents laying out these plans. While these documents have specific implications for border states such as Arizona and Texas, this plan is the fruit of a right-wing national security approach that sees the border as a 50-state problem. As such, the documents portend much wider consequences for the country at large. In the coming months, CRN and the New Times will deliver reporting revealing the contents of these documents, their implications for the country, and their authors. This article is the first in that series of investigative reporting. This reporting is based on internal Project 2025 blueprints that lay out the draft proposals for Trump administration immigration and law enforcement agenda. The documents contain several timelines for these actions, which are set to unfold throughout this year. Through the first 4 months of the Trump administration, the documents have repeatedly proven prophetic, leading us to believe they are likely to continue to forecast Trump's moves. Project 2025 was an effort by several far-wing think tanks to craft a policy playbook for a second Trump presidency. Per materials we've obtained, the documents were created by a subgroup of the larger group, Project 2025, effort called the Border Security Work Group. This subgroup, which until now was unknown to the American public, was tasked with crafting immigrant mass deportation plans along with other law enforcement and national security policy. Though Trump repeatedly denied any involvement in Project 2025 during the election cycle, documents obtained by CRN and New Times strongly suggest that the group worked closely with Trump and his team right through the election and up the White House steps. It is unclear whether Project 2025 documents we have obtained constitute the group's final policy proposals or whether the Trump accepted these policies. It is clear, however, that many of the agenda items laid out in these documents have come to pass during the early months of Trump's presidency. We have also seen items that seem to have been crafted largely for propaganda purposes come to pass. This has included the administration's demonization of some immigrant groups, particularly Venezuelans, accused of being members of the gang Tren de Aragua, as terrorist threats. The administration has often deported these so-called terrorists on the basis of flimsy evidence and without any due process. Internal Project 2025 documents obtained by CRN and New Times clearly state that targeting these alleged immigrant terrorists has been a vital part of a proposed communication strategy. The aim of that strategy is to galvanize political support for a broader plan to dramatically restructure and militarize law enforcement nationwide under the command of President Trump. Trump needs to convince regular Americans that we are at war. And if we're at war, then we have to treat it like a war. Who put these plans together? Documents show that many of the authors have ties to Christian nationalists and other far-right extremists. Project 2025 is an effort led by the Heritage Foundation, arguably America's most influential conservative think tank. The effort included input from a coalition of various right-wing public policy foundations and individual contributors. In April 2023, the group published a 922-page policy handbook titled 2025 Mandate for Leadership, The Conservative Promise. In essence, the handbook sought to reshape the federal government under a second Trump administration around two pillars. The first is the once obscure unitary executive legal theory, which essentially consolidates unchecked executive power in the hands of one person, the president. Critics argue the theory is unconstitutional and reframes the presidency as akin to a dictator or monarchy. The second pillar is hardline Christian fundamentalism. The Heritage Foundation was co-founded in 1973 by right-wing political luminary and Christian nationalist Paul Weyrich. I can't remember how he said it. According to the Project 2025 Border Security Work Group materials, many involved in crafting these specific law enforcement and mass deportation plans have substantial ties to Christian nationalists, among other far-right extremists. The documents demonstrate that Project 2025 continued working well beyond the 2023 publication of the Mandate for Leadership tome to craft policy for a hoped-for second Trump presidency. While that work was occurring, then candidate Trump repeatedly denied knowing anything about Project 2025. Critics responded by noting that publicly known contributors to the project had served in the first Trump presidential administration. Trump has since appointed several of these contributors to his current administration. Furthermore, documents have obtained demonstrate that about a third of the individuals involved in crafting these specific Project 2025 law enforcement and mass deportation plans had also served in some capacity under the first Trump administration. The identities of most of the individuals involved in the border security work group have not been previously revealed and will be explored at length and later in this investigative series. According to metadata associated with the documents, they were crafted between May and September of 2024, all while Trump was denying any involvement with the project. Authors of these documents expected to work in tandem with the campaign and subsequent administration. So they're saying while they're working up these new documents, which we haven't seen yet, we're going to be working with the Trump campaign. And we're going to work with his administration. They specifically discuss intentions to receive guidance and input from the presidential candidate and other key members of the executive team. During his campaign, his presidential transition period, and well into the first year of his administration. It is not clear from these documents whether the border security work group policy proposals found purchase with Trump, but if there has been coordination between the administration and the authors, it would hardly be surprising. Trump has already implemented several of the policy proposals contained in these documents. These have included the widespread revocation of immigrant parole programs and the revocation of status for many immigrants who are in the United States legally. The administration has sent immigrants to Gitmo and placed control of the U.S.-Mexican border in the hands of the military. And Trump has directed the IRS to help identify immigrants for deportation, breaking with long-held federal norms and clearly embracing the border security work group's draconian recommendations. So everything he's done so far that I just listed were all in these recommendations from Project 2025 Border Work Group. More disturbing, however, are those items the administration has not fleshed out yet. After 9/11, aspects of all levels of American law enforcement were integrated for the purpose of finding terrorists. We've talked about fusion centers before. If you've been here long enough, we've talked about fusion centers before, how they're set up, what data they collect, what they're looking for, keywords, all that. It was supposedly to catch terrorists. Have you guys ever heard the story about after the Boston bombing, the Boston Marathon bombing, that there was a guy in his house and he was Googling backpacks for a camping trip him and his son were about to go on. And the mom was upstairs looking for a pressure cooker online. And this was long before we knew how the bombing happened, that they used backpacks and pressure cookers. But the police force did, right? Those people did. And this is like the day after the marathon bombing, their door gets kicked in and they have like 40 fucking federal agents in their house. That is because these fusion centers are updated all the time with keywords. They're monitoring our traffic and looking for keywords. When they get these keywords and they think, oh, that could be a terrorist, they come kick down your fucking door. That's what these fusion centers do. Now, whether you like them or not, they're out there looking for terrorists. Imagine if an administration so inclined turned that onto dissent, people who disagree with him, people who have said bad things about Trump, people who tweet bad things about Trump, people who disagree with Trump. That is what this dystopian future would look like. Over time, that infrastructure was applied to a more inclusive all hazards detection and mitigation objective. This has had civil liberties consequences. For example, local police now sometimes assist federal authorities in monitoring and surveilling activist groups and critics of law enforcement. One of the most concerning proposals in the Border Security Work Group documents would create a similar structure, but ostensibly for identifying and deporting immigrants. This proposed system would be under the direct command of Donald Trump and could, of course, lead to similar or worse consequences. The Border Security Work Group recommendations revolve around one central line of operation to dramatically restructure and militarize domestic law enforcement through the course of this year. If enacted, this proposal would constitute the most drastic restructuring of American law enforcement since 9/11. The post 9/11 restructuring created a system of law enforcement and intelligence fusion centers nationwide. It also created the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, ODNI, and Department of Homeland Security, which assumed commands of such entities as Immigration and Customs Enforcement and Customs and Border Protection, CBP. Fusion centers, as they exist today, integrate the efforts of state and local law enforcement with DHS and other federal agencies such as the FBI. While the current fusion center systems does investigate and interdict crimes committed by transnational criminal organizations such as Tren de Aragua, local law enforcement, for the most part, does not engage in matters of federal immigration and law enforcement. The internal Project 2025 documents obtained by CRN and New Times propose creating a wholly new fusion center style system. The new law enforcement infrastructure, they say, would incorporate 4 tiers of command: regional command to integrate local sheriffs, municipal police, state troopers, game wardens, etc. State command to oversee and support all regional command units within each state. District command to oversee, support, and coordinate actions of state command units within geographical districts throughout the nation. And headquarters command to direct all of it. To facilitate the administration's mass deportation goals, several proposals in the Border Security Work Group materials would expand the use of programs that extend federal immigration enforcement powers to local law enforcement officers for deputies. For example, documents contemplate waiving 287G training requirements for sheriff's deputies and municipal police working in regional command units. The 287G program allows local law enforcement to work in concert with ICE in such matters as immigration rates. If they've had the training, they want to get rid of that. You don't need the training. Per the internal Project 2025 documents, headquarters command is to be directed by a commander of domestic security operations who will be appointed by the President of the United States and take direction on how to conduct operations in a manner decided directly by the President. Headquarters command would also contain a multi-jurisdictional law enforcement liaison group, which would consist of representatives from all levels of the integrated law enforcement command structure, from county sheriffs to the FBI, the DHS to the IRS, and others. Headquarters command would also be the level at which the military melds with local law enforcement to provide operational support. Documents we've obtained discuss potential workarounds to laws that prohibit most military engagement in matters of domestic law enforcement. They're looking for workarounds to get the military involved. Furthermore, the documents recommend the mobilization of up to 1 million troops to aid in proposed domestic security operations and identified specific military air bases to be used for rapid deportation flights, something he's already doing. Documents also show the group crafted presidential actions directing military support to civilian law enforcement and contemplated invoking the Insurrection Act, which would allow for active military participation in domestic law enforcement, which they've already talked about. These recommendations were not made by your average wingnut. In fact, many of these wingnuts at one point likely held security clearances. CRN and New Times review of these documents and associated metadata shows that at least half of those involved in Project 2025 Border Security Work Group were career high-level military and intelligence personnel. At least half of them are military and intelligence personnel or former. The documents lay out timelines and several lines of operation for accomplishing this domestic law enforcement restructuring by the end of this year, 2025. Already this year, Americans have watched the spectacle of the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. The administration has posted videos of shackled immigrants being loaded onto deportation flights and photos ops of at El Salvador's infamous CCOP prison, where the Trump administration has sent supposed Venezuelan gang members. These actions fit a proposed communication strategy contained in the Border Security Work Group documents. The intent to bolster political support and gain stakeholder buy-in for the central effort to overhaul and militarize domestic law enforcement. Again, he needs you to think we're in a war so he can use measures typically only used in a war. A strategic communications timeline in the document suggests propaganda for selling the country on law enforcement restructuring and militarization plan. A section detailing pre-election communication strategies reads, quote, "Our law enforcement agencies can help save so many victims, Americans and the illegal aliens held captive, indentured, and trafficked here. We must find and capture any potential terrorists or malign actors as a priority," end quote. Documents explicitly state that the target audience for this message is the American public. Recommended communications for the pre-inauguration period encouraged interagency cooperation and assistance along all levels of law enforcement and included the following messaging intended for the American public and opposition politicians. Our fine Border Patrol agents and immigration officials can do this job, and we will be asking Congress to provide them with the necessary tools and resources. Together, we can stop the trafficking, the misery, and the murder. They're even coming up with lines to pitch this with. It's crazy. Last, the messaging strategy timeline carries us through the first 100 days of the Trump presidency by driving home the terrorist threat. Quote, coordination, coordination, coordination. We ask all state and local authorities to help us find the dangerous terrorists and remove criminals from preying on the public. The audience intended is the American public, state, and local politicians. Over time, the 9/11 Fusion Center system turned on the American people in ways the general public did not anticipate. By contrast, the new militarized law enforcement structure contemplated in the Project 2025 Border Security Work Group documents that civil rights ramifications built into its DNA. A significant portion of these documents discuss domestic counterintelligence. The draft proposal contained recommendations to investigate, prosecute, and even seize the assets of non-governmental organizations, along with state, municipal, and federal agencies that provide services to immigrants and refugees. I'm going to repeat that again. The draft proposals in this plan, okay, contain recommendations to investigate, prosecute, and seize the assets of who? NGOs, states, municipal and federal agencies that provide services to immigrants and refugees. Not that help them escape, not that harbor them, not that hide them, not that, or do anything illegal. They provide services to immigrants or refugees. Documents describe some NGOs and specific government agencies as potential targets because they are perceived to oppose the priorities of the president. Because they are, their wording, quote, accomplices to immigration crime. An insider threat to this strategy can be expected that works with nation-state, transnational, and NGOs entities to subvert the president's plan. The documents state further, an active counterintelligence effort must be organized, integrated across all levels, and actively conducted to identify and prosecute any individuals working for and providing classified or operational sensitive information on border security plans and activities. Operationally sensitive information might very well describe the contents of this reporting. Indeed, those directives could be used to target reporters, press outlets, lawyers, activists, and concerned citizens who publish or post information relating to, say, immigration raids, or who are otherwise seen to be working to subvert the president's plans. Already, surrogates of the president have suggested prosecuting people, including lawmakers, who distribute Know Your Rights material or post about the whereabouts of ICE officers. Through the first 100 days of his term, Trump issued a number of executive orders that seem intent on bringing the Border Security Work Group's recommendations to fruition. That has caught the eye of Jessica Pishko, an attorney and journalist who has written a book on the far-right radicalization of American law enforcement. Though she is not privy to the documents obtained by CRN and New Times, she has noticed an emergent pattern in Trump's executive orders. That pattern is one in which the supreme leader works to curry favor and loyalty among law enforcement while simultaneously positioning them as potential tools of authoritarianism. I think that what Trump and his administration imagine is something like the unitary executive all the way down, directing what the priorities are for law enforcement personnel on the ground. It's not really about enforcing the law, but ensuring that specific directives of the president are carried out. Among other things, Trump executive orders have placed control of the southern border in the hands of the U.S. Department of Defense and called for provision of military and national security assets to assist local law enforcement agencies. We've seen those EOs. Trump has also used his executive orders to decry a lawless insurrection against the supremacy of federal law, which he says is underway among state and local officials whom the administration views as being insufficiently compliant with its mass deportation plans. Furthermore, through executive order, Trump has called on the heads of DHS and DOD to craft recommendations on whether he should invoke the Insurrection Act. Other provisions of these executive orders have called for the unification of local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies through the creation of a Homeland Security Task Force, HSTFs, in all states, unified under one operational command center, strongly echoing recommendations contained in the documents we've obtained. Trump has ordered these fusion centers like HSTFs to pursue his immigrant mass deportation agenda and to also engage in enforcement actions against state and local officials whom the administration views as working contrary to their objectives. These executive orders have also granted greater immunities, legal protections, and resources, including military assets, to state and local law enforcement agencies and officers. The executive orders also called for enhanced sentences for those convicted of crimes against law enforcement officers. Broadly, the Trump administration's immigration power grab has inspired protest and become the subject of ongoing lawsuits. Taking a step back, looking at Trump's executive orders, Pishko sees a troubling scenario emerging, namely the creation of an apparatus that could be redirected to punish targets of Trump's choosing. Not just immigrants, whoever his current targets are. The biggest concern I have is that if Trump decides to bring all of local law enforcement under his purview and use it to conduct mass deportations and or mass surveillance of certain groups of people, that it would be very easy to do that. He would have a lot of manpower, Pishko said. Right now, it's immigrants. It could change. Things could switch pretty quick to other groups. It could switch to protesters. It could switch to academics. It could switch to journalists. The Project 2025 Border Security Work Group documents obtained by CRN and New Times detail the creation of this new militarized law enforcement structure nationwide through the course of this year. They lay out many steps that so concern Pishko. Crafted in secret, their recommendations are seemingly becoming reality with every passing week. And if the documents are to be believed, many more alarming developments are to come. And they're supposed to be releasing more information about this. I'll keep an eye on it. It's the Phoenix New Times. Phoenix New Times. And they claim they received these documents from an insider, somebody in the group. And they didn't publish them at first, but so much of it is lining up because they didn't have a way to validate them. So much of it is lining up with shit he's already done. They're deciding to publish them now. So we'll keep an eye on this and see where it goes. But it sounds fucking terrifying, to be honest with you. A militarized group all the way down to your local law enforcement. Imagine you say something he don't like on Twitter, and he can direct your local law enforcement to show up and harass you at your house for what you tweeted out. Imagine you say 8647. Is that enough? Is that enough for them to come after you? Apparently, according to 903 Gaming. Fucking retard. All right, maybe we got some not so bad shit, I guess. That was the cameras. That was the Trump controls the police force. Some Supreme Court arguments. How about that?
If I were in your shoes, there is no way I'd approach the Supreme Court with this case.
Let's get into those arguments over Trump's efforts to restrict automatic birthright citizenship and talk about why we think and why you reported, Greg, that the court seemed wary of letting Trump enforce this order. The argument seemed to me to start off a little rough for U.S. Solicitor General John Sauer. The court's liberal wing at least made it.
I say we should 86 him right in his big fucking orange fat face. 86 the fuck out of him.
Pretty clear that,
that's my plan.
That this executive order is unconstitutional. Here's Justice Elena Kagan basically telling Sauer he's never going to win this case on the merits.
I mean, I noticed that you didn't take the substantive question to us. You only took the nationwide injunction question to us. I mean, why would you take the substantive question to us? You're losing a bunch of cases. This guy over here, this woman over here, they'll have to be treated as citizens, but nobody else will. Why would you ever take this case to us?
Exactly. They have, if they get it the way they want, that everybody has to sue the government when their rights are infringed against. Again, let's go back to the example of tomorrow. A new president is in office for whatever reason, and he confiscates every gun in America. I have to sue the government. You have to sue the government. Every gun owner would have to sue the government to get their, even non-gun owners. If you wanted this right, you would have to sue the government individually, right? The only way that there could be a blanket statement for gun owners is if it got to the Supreme Court. But if I win in court, which I will, under the Second Amendment, I will win in court to own firearms. I can't appeal that to the appellate court or to the Supreme Court. The only person that could appeal it is the federal government. Why would they appeal it if they know that it's going to go to the Supreme Court and they're going to make a blanket statement? They would have more interest in not appealing it and letting me have my rights but fuck everybody else until they go to court than they would in appealing the ruling and potentially getting in front of the Supreme Court and getting a nationwide injunction. It doesn't make any fucking sense. And then I got a Phil DeFranco video for you. It's pretty funny that Trump still doesn't understand tariffs. Look how deep we are into his plans. He still doesn't understand how tariffs work.
Donald Trump is now blaming Walmart for rising prices in response to the tariffs. Right? And he's saying that they should just eat the cost of the tariffs and not raise prices on customers. And so this tweet from Trump, it seems to reveal what many have suspected, that Trump doesn't really understand how tariffs are supposed to work. Because if prices don't rise in response to the tariffs, then they don't actually deliver any protection. The tariffs, they only work because the prices go up. The tariffs are supposed to make Chinese goods more expensive than American goods. That's the whole point. If Walmart just eats the prices on the tariffs, then there's no incentive for consumers to choose the American-made version of products. And that's even if they exist because they're at a baseline more expensive. Trump's policy is working exactly how it's intended to, and apparently he doesn't like it. You also had Trump claiming that the country...
That's the point of tariffs. Rather, the price should be higher so American companies can compete. But he's telling Walmart to eat the price. So then what's the point of the tariffs?
More expensive than American goods. That's the whole point. If Walmart just eats the prices on the tariffs, then there's no incentive for consumers to choose the American-made version of products. And that's even if they exist because they're at a baseline more expensive. Trump's policy is working exactly how it's intended to, and apparently he doesn't like it. You also had Trump claiming that the countries pay the tariffs, not consumers, which obviously, judging by Walmart raising their prices, isn't true. And then on a more zoomed out level, Trump also said that the tariffs are there to replace the income tax and make us all rich, but that they're also there to increase manufacturing. But you have experts saying it really can't be both, at least at the same time. If you import less goods because you're producing more domestically, the less tax revenue you're getting and the less rich you're becoming. Right? And all of this is why we're seeing so many experts saying that this is kind of basic Econ 101 shit. Follow to stay in the loop.
And he still doesn't understand it. All right, I want to show you a guy. I want to show you how what a piece of shit this guy is. You all remember this guy? I showed him on the show when the Unfuck America tour basically broke down. He's a right-wing influencer. He's kind of a piece of shit. And I don't know how tiny he is, but look how big these fucking hats are on his head. I'm assuming these are adult-sized hats. Now he's trying to get in a boxing match with people. Look at these hats on his head.
Global stock markets are soaring thanks to President Trump's latest trade truce with China and the...
Well, pardon me. I have to take a break from all the fun I've been having.
Look how big that hat looks on his head. Are hats supposed to look that big?
Trying to set up a spar match because, you know, liberals are soft to Charmin. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will always hurt them. Anyway, obviously this is a good thing between the U.S. and China, and I'm sure that both parties are celebrating, and I'm sure that the left isn't moving the goalposts.
Some relief, maybe it doesn't, we'll have to see. But remember, we are only in this mess because of Donald Trump. He's literally...
Right, he broke something, and it's still broken. It's still worse than before he took office. And he's saying, I fixed it, guys.
Harry gonna Harry. Harry always gonna Harry.
All right, there is another video I want to show. Is it this one?
Why do liberal men run their mouths? Sorry, why do liberal boys run their mouths? Like, they act so big, bad, and tough in their lives and in their videos. It's just hilarious to me. But I want to say this. I'm a big enough creator now to where I know you guys are going to see these kinds of videos. There's not one specific liberal creator that I wouldn't spar with. It cracks.
Think about this statement. There is not one, he repeats it, specific liberal creator that I would not spar with. What does that mean? What do those words mean? To me, that sounds like he would fight any liberal creator, right? There's not one, the specific liberal, right, creator. So anybody that creates liberal content specifically, there's not one that he wouldn't fight. Correct? There's not a single liberal creator that he would not fight. That's what he said. Am I wrong, chat? Am I crazy here? He said he would fight any liberal creator, correct?
Why do liberal men run their mouths? Sorry, why do liberal boys run their mouths? Like, they act so big, bad, and tough in their lives and in their videos. It's just hilarious to me. But I want to say this. I'm a big enough creator now to where I know you guys are going to see these kinds of videos. There's not one.
Because he names some in a minute. He names some liberal creators in a minute. But he started off with saying there's not one liberal creator that I wouldn't fight.
Specific liberal creator that I wouldn't spar with. It
there you
go. When I see Good Trouble challenging people to a push-up competition. Like we're 5 years old.
By the way, it already looks like somebody jacked up his fucking bottom teeth there.
Army. Good Trouble.
They look like they're having a contest to get to the front.
Parker, Harry, Chris, anybody, any of y'all. I will raise funds and just do
trying to jump off a sinking ship.
A national tour and just go all over the place sparring against you guys. And it'll end up just like political.
So he named a few of them right here.
5 years old. Spar me. Good Trouble. Dean, Parker, Harry, Chris, anybody, any of.
But again, he said there's not one that he wouldn't fight because a bunch of people are like, fight me. And he's like, well, you think there's not such thing as weight classes?
Y'all, I will raise
and
just do a national tour and just go all over the place sparring against you guys. And it'll end up just like political punches when y'all were like, oh, that's just like MAGA to have to bring violence into it. Then don't run your mouths. Don't run your mouths. If you can't run it.
So you're not allowed to speak unless you want to fight him, right? Because that's how the First Amendment works. You're not allowed to speak unless you fight him.
In the ring, don't run it outside the ring. That's my challenge to y'all. Please make a video. Let me know that you're willing to do it. And if you're not, your audience should be absolutely ashamed of you, and they should make fun of you every time you start to run your mouth in your lives, in your videos, whatever. Just say.
By the way, the reason Good Trouble challenges people to push-up contests is because it's funny that the right always like, well, we're the real men. We're doing this. He's like, oh, well, fuck. He challenges people to 2-to-1 push-up contests.
Nah.
I'll do 2 for every 1 you can do.
You didn't want that puff with Ray Ray, so don't run your mouth now. Give me a follow. We'll see you in the next one. Pow! 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 Why do liberals...
Name something that triggers a liberal, a progressive, or Democrat.
Oh, I got your answer. I made a video yesterday.
Here come the excuses. Get ready. Are you ready for all the excuses? That guy's 300 pounds and that guy's twice my size. You said any liberal creator could get it.
That I would like to challenge some of the larger liberal creators to spar matches, and all of a sudden, every single liberal out there, except for the ones that I would like to spar with, had something to say. Are y'all pressed? Are y'all panini pressed? Just for reference sake, here's what I said. The videos, there's not one specific liberal creator that I wouldn't spar with. And it's like they didn't listen to any other part of that video. They had people that were 300 pounds, 6'4" with 53 followers challenging me to...
Well, that's what you said. There's not one specific liberal creator
to a spar. They were tagging Scotty Fitness and Thorin Bradley as though they make specific liberal content. I forgot how illogical the liberal party actually is. Or incompetent. Because I didn't mean that literally. Do you think that I, at 5'6"...
I didn't mean that literally. I didn't mean it literally.
I can defeat every single liberal in the world? Do you think that I, at 5'6", think that I can defeat every single liberal in the world? Ah! No, I later said this. Years old, spar me, Good Trouble, Dean, Parker, Harry, Chris, anybody, any of y'all. I will raise... That's called an...
I understand you named those, but imagine if I said... There's not a single white person on the planet that I couldn't beat the fuck out of. And I would like to fight this person, but everybody's game now, right? Because I named them all. I said there's not a specific white person.
And you guys apparently aren't even smart enough to catch that. Why in the hell would I want to spar against somebody with 53 followers? What do I have to gain from that? No, I want a spectacle. So you tell your people, you tell your leaders and the liberal party that are in my weight class or even remotely close to it that I would like to spar them. I prefer you.
He is 5'6". I think 5'6" is a very heavy estimate, judging by the size of this hat.
UFC rules, just so we're clear though. They will not do it. You know how I know they won't do it? I started political punches. I literally gave them the opportunity already. And it was crickets, and they very clearly aren't about that life because when I made this video yesterday, people were mentioning my name and tagging my content and stitching my content in a 24-hour span more than they ever did that entire month and a half that I was running the political punches campaign. Look at this. Everybody wants a piece of me. So do their girlfriends. Why aren't y'all having your big creators who speak for y'all on a daily basis put their money where their mouth is? All for charity.
I'm going to show you why nobody should engage with this guy. All right, I am going over his content right now. This is the last time you should ever fucking give this guy the time of day, okay? In a second.
Fundraisers. We'll get this money going. I don't need Barstool Sports and all that other stuff like I tried to get in the past. We'll just do it ourselves, and all the creators can put this on TikTok Live for everyone to watch at the same time. And I'm not going to remain hush-hush about this. I will keep challenging you until you have to tell your audience, no, I will not do it. Which we all know, that means you're scared. You can follow MAGA. We'll see you in the next one. I'm going to show you some of the people who challenged me. It's pretty...
Global stock markets are...
All right, we just watched that one. Account ban warning.
I'm not smart, but I've been told you.
How uneducated the left not be able to see I accepted Good Trouble. So we go to Good Trouble now. Good Trouble accepted him on this. So we'll go there. I think it starts here.
Why do liberal men run their mouths? Sorry, why do liberal boys run their mouths? Like they act so big bad.
By the way, Good Trouble is built like a brick shit house. Like he's built like a brick shit house.
Tough
in case you're wondering.
And in their videos, it's just hilarious to me. But I want to say this: I'm a big enough creator now to where I know you guys are going to see these kinds of videos. There's not one specific liberal creator that I wouldn't spar with.
Play the fight riff. Play it.
Who do you think's fixing to win this fight? Ray? You think it's going to be Ray?
Nah. Anyway, I maintain that people who are intellectually outclassed in these spaces...
He's fixing to be spitting out teeth is what is about to happen.
...who are routinely ragdolled in adult conversations and that cannot pull their own weight or make any points, coherent or otherwise, often resort to this caveman-ass bullshit. And I, like an adult, make fun of this, a mockery, by offering a push-up contest.
Exactly, right? You ought to be able to... What the fuck does fighting have to do with it? You ought to be able to discuss the politics. No, let's fight. You can't run your mouth about me and my president. Let's fight. Fisticuffs.
Challenge of strength, a feat of endurance, which you routinely duck. I think that that's funny. I think that you're funny. Like a clown. Haha. Anyway, I know that I would fold your clothes with you still inside them. That's not really up for debate. Everybody knows that that's true. The point is that you people are so triggered by words that you hear on the internet and so
He's going to make money and views off this. That's the only reason nobody should do this. Because I'm going to show you how horrible a person... Well, Good Trouble's going to show you how horrible a person he is in just a minute.
intellectually incapable of responding to those words with other words that you resort to Neanderthal behavior. And I find that sad, brother.
By the way, somebody said his mouth doesn't run, but his bottom teeth sure as hell tried.
Why do liberal men run their mouths? Sorry, why do liberal
Oh shit, why'd that restart?
so big, bad, and tough in their lives and in their videos? It's just hilarious.
Make fun of this, a mockery by offering a push-up contest, a challenge of strength, a feat of endurance, which you routinely duck. I think that that's funny. I think that you're funny. Like a clown. Haha. Anyway, I know that I would fold your clothes with you still inside them. That's not really up for debate. Everybody knows that that's true. The point is that you people are so triggered by words that you hear on the internet and so intellectually incapable of responding to those words with other words that you resort to Neanderthal behavior. And I find that sad, brother.
Why do liberal men run their mouths?
All right, keep going.
This is the leftist influencer, Good Trouble. You people have
This guy's an idiot.
computing power of a solar
We'll watch it for a second.
calculator. And he's got some
So he's not talking, obviously, this is a clip out of context. He's not talking about anybody who voted for Trump. He's talking specifically about someone. He's about to show it.
words for you to let you know that he's tired of your MAGA shit. People like this are apocalyptically, indescribably stupid. Wow, what a disgusting little turd. He's not done. And their hubris and ego and idiocy are ultimately always their downfall. Now that you know what he thinks of you, let me show you what Good Trouble wants everybody to do to you.
If you clutch those pearls any harder, they're gonna pop, Kramer. I wasn't talking directly about MAGA, but I am now going to talk about you and MAGA because this is who I was referencing.
Would you use the N-word out of interest? Yes. You would?
I do, quite frankly.
People
That's how he was talking about. The woman is like, hey, I use the N-word all the time.
like that don't deserve a second of peace in public. And the idea that you leap to her defense is exactly why we lump all of you MAGA weirdos in with all these disgusting racists, because you'd rather defend that than decry it. And you then clutch your pearls and say that, oh no, don't be mean to us. And just to be clear, Kramer, if you think that what she's doing is right and just, I don't think that you should get a second of peace either. Okay?
This whole thing got taken way too far. I found out today that people were doxing me.
There's more excuses, right? More excuses from Ray Ray.
Reporting videos. Men who are 290 pounds, 6'9", are challenging me to a boxing match as if they don't know that anybody can get it means within the weight division. Have you guys not?
Anybody can get it means within my weight division. When I come out and say anybody can get it means within my weight division, guys.
Not one specific liberal creator that I wouldn't spar with. There's not one.
Just so that we're clear, the term anyone can get it is not specific to weight class. You're just saying that because you found...
Ray Ray replies this video with like Conor McGregor, which is the worst person. Conor McGregor has fought so many weird fucking fights in and out of his weight class with weird fucking people. People bigger than him, people smaller than him. He's lost weight. He's gained weight. He's fought non-traditional people. He's done boxing matches. That's like the worst person to use as an example.
Found out that there are giant liberal creators who want to take you up on your challenge. Myself included. Anyway, just to drive home my point, you feel intellectually inferior when you're having arguments with adults. And to prove to only yourself that you are not actually inferior, you need to prove your manhood because it's so tied up into you being superior that you have to defend it. And you do it in this caveman-ass way. Only proving our point, which is you shouldn't be on the fucking internet jawing like this.
This whole thing got...
All right, so let him show you how horrible, if he still got it posted, I hope so. How horrible of a person this Ray Ray guy is. Watch this.
Just turned 46 years old. And I've been...
Fuck, that's not it. I bet you he's taking it down. I'll find it again eventually. Hold on.
This whole thing got taken way too far. I found...
Just turned...
The next time you guys hear somebody talk...
Tony,
If you're an idiot...
this is going to come with a trigger warning.
Here it is.
Because the video I'm about to play you.
Watch this clip of that guy we were just talking about, that Ray Ray guy. And tell me this isn't fucking racist to the core. Like he's a piece of shit for doing this.
Is me on a live explaining to a panel why we don't have to platform everybody in the pursuit of reaching across the aisle.
I've never tried to get in alive.
All right, so here's what's happening. Let me back it up.
Of reaching across the aisle.
All right, so here's what's happened. A bunch of left-leaning content creators, including this person who used to be right, Mercedes. She is a left-leaning content creator now. Z, who was the person who founded the PAC that was doing the Unfuck America tour. C-Mags, I don't really know. This CFH Unfiltered, I like him. He's a former veteran, and he's a left-wing content creator. Zombie is I'm assuming a black left-wing content creator, and there's our boy Ray Ray, okay? They were all having this kind of like kumbaya live stream, okay? And the Ray Ray wanted to come up. They let him come up, and they're like, look, guys, we can talk to both sides. We can remain cool. We can talk about the topics. It doesn't have to divulge into like name calling or this or threats or whatever. And Good Trouble came up to specifically show why you can't. It is good to talk to both sides, to talk it out, to go back and forth, to talk with the other side sometimes. But there are also people that you should never give a space to talk, like this Ray Ray guy. Watch.
Never tried to get in alive as hard as this, because I think this is important. You earlier, when you were going to bring me up an hour and a half ago, you asked me if I was going to do it out of love and like have a nice cordial conversation.
Watch his fucking face.
But not for this. It's for the love of like other communities who are deeply affected by shit like this. Okay, I'm just gonna show you this. I'm gonna play it because I think it's important. You might think that you're like playing with kid gloves, but coddling this shit is really bad.
So that is the Ray Ray guy with a gorilla filter on his face. And he is supposedly talking about the 100 guys versus a gorilla debate. Okay? Now, he claims this video isn't racist. Why is it not racist? Because the most racist part, where he says, him as a gorilla, says, my cousin Shaq, a well-known black man, my cousin Shaq, insinuating that he's also a gorilla, is actually a Pete Davidson joke. And he was just repeating it, so it can't be racist. Watch this.
Versus one gorilla, who would win? Bitch, I'm a gorilla. I'm gonna put it to you like this. Not only would I unalive all 100 men that come my way, I will attend their funerals and take their woman from them afterwards. You ain't never heard that once you go silverback, you never go back? Or hell, I might want to think.
Once you go silverback, you never go back. Tell me these aren't gigantic racist fucking tropes and this guy's a piece of shit. Or not a piece of shit.
About this, I might do even worse. I'll keep you alive, but I'll rip your bananas off, okay? Like Lorena Bobbitt. And then I will take your woman. What do you call a picture of me with my arm around your girl, smiling like this? That's called gorilla cheese. One of y'all gonna have a wife named Manila. I'm gonna take her. We gonna call that Gorilla in Manila.
That's another trope, right? That black guys come in and try to take your wives.
Y'all act like my cousin Shaq didn't dominate the NBA for decades.
You all act like my cousin Shaq didn't dominate the NBA for decades.
Y'all act like my whole
Cousin Shaq.
No.
My cousin Shaq.
No.
So I just want you to be clear. This is all I came to say. If you want to platform people like this, right? You just got to get it clear. It's fine having these conversations. Certain people don't deserve the fucking kindness that you are showing this person. That's all I'm saying. I think that everybody who hadn't seen that video might have a different fucking opinion. Okay, Ray? And I swear to God, Ray, and the next time I fucking see you, I will feed you your
dinner. I said, I'm going to feed you your dinner there, okay?
All right, brother? That's all I came here to say. That's all I came here to say, okay? If you want to continue to platform this fucking bigot, that's on you. That you get all the smoke after this. That's fine. That's you guys. You get the decision. You get to have this conversation. That's fine. You just know that now you can't just play dumb and say, oh, but we're just trying to reach the other side. This is who you're trying to reach right now, okay? That's fine. That's fine. Ray, I hope you
have the day you deserve. I said, I hope you have the day you deserve there, too, okay?
Okay, cool. Can I?
All right, so he leaves, right? And I do want to give some credit to these content creators because a lot of people in the comments are like, well, they were just smiling. I think they were like in a really awkward situation. they did try to question him and say, hey, this is racist. I don't think you got a good excuse for this while he was trying to make it. And they did ban him. They did kick him out after this part happens.
Can I explain that now? Can I have the floor? And I will do it calmly, okay? Because I think he's talking about the main joke where I said Cousin Shaq. That is literally a Pete Davidson joke in a roast. Like,
that's a Pete Davidson roast joke, guys.
Go back and see it. Comedy is a very subjective thing.
I mean, if I'm gonna keep it a buck though, that was pretty racist though. Yeah, I do. But I will just straight up, like, whatever explanation you will give, I don't think is acceptable. Because I mean, to even like parallel a gorilla to another black man like Shaq, like, even if you're referencing something else, it's not acceptable. Like, you get what I'm saying?
I'm not gonna apologize for that, Zombie. It's a joke from Pete
I'm not gonna apologize. It's a joke from Pete Davidson.
Davidson from a roast.
But it's like, so it's
most
okay.
of the jokes were from that. So I don't.
It don't really matter where it's from though. Like, you're literally making a racial joke.
Yeah. So in conclusion,
and they did kick him out after that. I don't know what conclusions you want to draw about those people that were already talking to him. I still hope the Unfuck America tour does good against Charlie Kirk, but he's definitely a racist piece of shit.
I do think that there is value in trying to reach people who feel differently than you and I. I don't think, however, that platforming disgusting bigots in an effort to reach those people is something that we need to be doing.
That's the only reason I don't want to see Good Trouble go beat this guy's fucking teeth in a charity boxing match, because I know he's going to make views. He's going to make money. He's going to get donations. He's going to have more viewers. He's going to get, everything's going to improve in his life, even if he gets his ass beat.
Just a little postscript here. Ray, who you saw so confident, so unapologetic about that awesome joke he stole from Pete Davidson, would never apologize because comedy is subjective. Took
the video down within minutes.
That fucking video down with the quickness today, didn't he? That's interesting. He also doesn't want to hear from me.
He would not, absolutely would not apologize for it. Video gone.
Video down with the quickness today, didn't he? That's interesting. He also doesn't want to hear from me anymore. I trust you'll give him the message. Odd that this guy wants to fight people and then does that.
This is going to come with a trigger warning, unfortunately.
That guy is such a piece of shit, dude. That Ray guy, holy fuck. He's a piece of shit. I've shown his videos on here before when I was showing how the right wing is now going to take the Unfuck America thing and make it a huge topic and talking points. I've shown his videos before. I won't show him again unless it's to literally lambast him for being a piece of shit. That's horrible, dude. I don't give a fuck who said it. Who gives you the right to repeat it? Even if you are stealing jokes, is it okay if I steal racist jokes? I want to see what this is because I like this CFH Unfiltered. He's a veteran. He makes left-leaning content. I want to hear what he says.
Recently, a large left-wing creator hopped on one of our lives and completely dunked on a right-wing creator, right? Completely just owned him, showed a video that he did, called him a racist. And then that left-leaning creator walked away, made a video about it, patted himself on the back about how he's a big, tough, liberal guy, just dunked on him, right? Yeah, fuck that guy. Now the right-leaning creator, he left that live. And instead of watching my content, maybe being in my live, he is now going to consume that content, whether you like it or not.
I like you, man. I want to start off by saying I like your content. I like what you're doing here. I think it's important that you know.
I like the guy too, but I think that he should be exposed for his racist bullshit.
This is coming from a place not of a defensive response to your video, but more of a clarification on my position on this. What you're describing, in my opinion, is the tolerance paradox, wherein if you are tolerant of everything, including intolerant people,
the tolerance paradox is you can't be tolerant to intolerance, right? Let's say there's a person that thinks that we should kick all black people in the United States. That's what they believe, right? And they're making efforts to make that happen. They donate to charities or they personally work to drive back people away. Or how tolerant should we be to those people and their voices? Is there a slight chance that they may eventually come around? Maybe. But how tolerant should we be to those people while they're still doing the work of intolerance? It's insane.
eventually destroys tolerance itself. If you are tolerant to people and ideas like that, you risk undermining the values that tolerant society needs to function. My position is if you don't call out and stop in its tracks the shit that people like that are putting on the internet, it is allowed to inch forward. And
also, I think there's a gigantic difference between Z was doing microaggressions when she defended her tour, and this guy with a monkey fucking filter on his face saying he's cousins with Shaq.
In the way that you described with the content that you showed earlier in your video. It is precisely the soft-handed approach, this desire to meet them where they are in order to bring them to our side, as opposed to loudly admonishing horrifically racist shit. I've been back and forth on the merits of showing a video that disgusting to people who it affects. On my live the night before, we talked for like 2 hours whether or not I wanted to make a video about that because of the harm it would do to the black community just having to fucking witness that. And I decided against it until I walked in and saw you and Mercedes and everybody platforming this guy. And my immediate response was, they must not know what this guy is up to. I went in there not to call out Mercedes or you or anyone else on that panel. It was simply to make sure that we were not platforming this vile human being. When I played that video, however, the response was a little tepid, including yours, which broke my fucking heart. I can see how you would think that my follow-up video was self-congratulatory, that I was patting myself on the back. But the reality is, again, I was just trying to make sure that everyone within my earshot does not platform disgusting bigots. It's not about me dunking on this. It is about loudly stopping it in its fucking tracks. We should all be...
You can't. So the tolerance paradox says that when you're tolerant to intolerant people, eventually it does away with tolerance, right? Everybody loses except for the intolerant.
With that, it's not a question. We are all of us trying to figure out a way through this, and we all might have different ideas of how to get the job done, and we might disagree on that, but we're all on the same fucking team. This thing, however, we cannot have different opinions about. We need to be on the same fucking page about...
If we tolerate people who would undermine, who would advocate for the suppression of freedom and tolerance, right? They're trying to undermine free speech, get rid of freedom and tolerance. The major risk is that we lose tolerance.
Not letting shit like that, vile bigots like that, proliferate in our society. And the only way to do that is to loudly stand up in front of it and say, not today, motherfucker.
Recently, a large left-wing...
And I like this guy, but I don't think he's right here. Like, oh, Ray could have watched all my content and become a leftist. I don't think that's about to happen. I wanted to see if that video was here. I don't see it. He had his hat on backwards, right? I don't think he makes that many videos. Let's see. Let's just start here.
This whole political situation has my wife really stressed out, and she's angry about it. And I think she has a right to be angry. And she's mad, like legitimately mad, because she feels that her rights are being taken away. Her rights were taken away. So when my family members come over, she can't have a conversation with them because she's so mad. It escalates into a yelling match, and the MAGA person walks away even more entrenched in their views. So it's my job as a good husband to have those conversations because I'm not angry. It's not happening to me. So I can have calm, thoughtful conversations with those people to try to change their mind for my wife, like for my family, for my country. And it's worked. Like it's worked in my family. Like it worked on my dad. I know I'm good talking with people, and I do it all the time. I talk to people, and I try to give them a different perspective. And I wanted to use that to continue to fight for my country. But it seems like people don't want me to do that. And I don't want to damage those people. I don't want to damage the Democratic Party. I don't want to damage my country. I want to do the right thing. Like that's what I want to do. I don't know what to do. I'll say it over and over again. This whole political situation has my wife really stressed out, and she's angry about it.
Hopefully he deleted that last video. It seems like it. African Americans traveling to West Africa to see what their ancestors built. Oh, I bet the comments are. Oh, this is the video right here. It must just be long.
With huge engagement. I mean, just look at the comments and look at the likes. This kind of content is incredibly dangerous and vile. Undertones of dehumanization. Recently, a large left-wing creator hopped on one of our lives and completely dunked on a right-wing creator, right? Completely just owned him, showed a video that he did, called him a racist. And then that left-leaning creator walked away, made a video about it, patted himself on the back about how he's a big, tough, liberal guy, just dunked on him, right? Yeah, fuck that guy. Now, the right-leaning creator, he left that live. And instead of watching my content, maybe being in my live, he is now going to consume that content, whether you like it or not. That's the reality of it. He's going to consume that content. And then he's going to teach his children the lessons behind that content. People say that we shouldn't platform people on the right. They're being platformed already on the right side of TikTok. Whether we like it or not, they are platformed. I would like to have a conversation with these people. I would like to talk to them and try to get them to see the damage that kind of content does. We don't do that by dunking on them, by owning them. What we're doing is not working. Like, it's not working. That approach isn't working. We've been doing that for 10 years. So at some point, us on the left, We have to acknowledge that it's not working, and we have to try something different. Or we can try a different approach and keep the same message. I don't know, it might work, it might not, I don't know. You can use empathy to plant seeds in people's brains that will grow over the course of 6 months. And then maybe when those seeds grow, they won't consume that kind of content. Maybe they won't make videos with a gorilla filter in 6 months. We are not winning. We are not winning. That content, that's winning.
I agree. Like I think Destiny does this really well. I'm gonna top that. I think Destiny does this really well. Of platforming people, but also holding them accountable for the horrible views they espouse. Destiny got a lot of flack for platforming Nick Fuentes, and he did technically platform Nick Fuentes. And there is a 0% chance that some people came onto Destiny's live, said, "I've never heard this guy before, Nick Fuentes. I'm going to go watch some more of him," and maybe they became neo-Nazis. I'm not saying there's a 0% chance that happened. It's probably greater than 0%. It's probably 0.0000. Still, he does it and still holds them accountable for the bullshit that they say, that they do. He calls them out. The worst thing that could happen is when someone who is not ready to be in the trenches, right, who is not ready to argue the talking points, has somebody on like Nick Fuentes, and they say, "Hey, man, you shouldn't be saying this about people." And then Nick Fuentes bowls them over with dates and facts and statistics and this and that. And the person's just sitting there like, "Yeah, well, that just sounds bad. I don't know, but that doesn't sound right, blah, blah." But Destiny comes prepared. So when he has someone on like Nick Fuentes, he comes out and Nick starts this great replacement, this immigration, this, that, and the other. He has the facts. He has the information. He has the data to say, no. You're not gonna bulldoze me. This is what's actually happening. This is what's going on. These are how you're manipulating these statistics. This is how you're making this look bad, right? And puts them in their fucking place. To where any logical, sound, reasonable person that sees that is like, wow, Nick Fuentes, honestly, when Nick Fuentes is by himself on a show, he sounds intelligent. He sounds like he knows what he's talking about. But someone came with facts and showed me that it isn't true. If someone brings on Nick Fuentes and just treats them like they're a regular human that has normal views, it is giving normalization to those views, right? When you guys had Ray Ray on, and maybe you didn't know this, but you were made aware, right, by Good Trouble's video. You were made aware, and you just treat him like, "Oh, he's one of the guys. We can be cool with this guy. He's a normal guy." You're normalizing those views that you don't even know he fucking has, like the monkey filter and the this, that, and the other, right? You either have to not platform him because you don't want to have to call out all of the horrible shit he's done, or you platform him ready to call out and say, "This was racist. This is fucked up. You need to apologize for this. You need to fucking leave." Right? We can't say that gorillas are cousins with Shaq. I don't give a fuck where you got the joke from. That's a bridge too far. We won't put up with that. One of the two. But just to sit in a chat with him and be like, "Oh yeah, we're just one of the guys here. We're all just one of the guys," right? That's a bridge too far because you're co-signing this other shit that you don't even know he did. When in reality, you need to be calling it out. And I do like CFH Unfiltered, but I think that's a bridge too far. Once you found out about him, that's when you have to call it out and say, "This is horrible. We can't do this. This is way too far. I don't give a fuck what he says. If he's not going to apologize, he's out of here." Not come back and say, "Well, he might have started watching my content and then maybe he'll be less racist next time." I don't think so. Check out this wild video. I'll give you a heads up. This guy's going to end up shooting himself. Okay, it's a police body cam video. Apparently the cops was here to serve an arrest warrant or question him or something. Oh, and a felony warrant for violation of probation. He's going to flee in a lawnmower.
How you doing, James? Come on out there, man. Come here.
Can't hear you. I'm mowing. Right. He's proven he's unreasonable. He's not suddenly going to grow reason. That might be something that if you want to take that approach, that might be something that you approach in the DMs, right? In private messages over months to try to get him to think, yeah, you know, that was kind of racist, right? That's not something you platform and say, oh, yeah, this guy's cool. We can talk to him. He's just a normal person, guys. He's just a normal guy like me and you. He's not. He is not normal, and we shouldn't normalize it. And in the case, one more caveat. In the case you had no idea he had ever made that monkey video, fine. But when you saw the monkey video, you guys just banned him and kind of was like, that was weird. You should have said immediately, you're not going to fucking apologize for this? No, you need to apologize for this, or you need to get the fuck out and never come back. But not just get rid of him and be like, oh, that was weird. Oh, well, maybe he'll come back. Maybe he'll watch my content next week and be less racist. I doubt it.
Come here. James, stop!
I think you're going to see in this video right here, the guy fumbles and drops his pistol down between like the seat and like the gas tank or the control panel. Probably the gas tank's over here, I think. The control panel's over here. If he wouldn't have dropped that gun, this cop might have been shot. He's wide open.
Stop!
He's screaming, hold on, he's wide open.
Get off the... Now! Get off, now!
Don't tase me, bro.
Stop!
All right, now watch. He's already fiddling with something.
Now, get off!
In his waist or in his shirt or something. You can tell. Look how his hands are. They're not on the controls anymore. Why would he be holding his gut? Why is he holding his gut? Now he straightens his leg. That's another sign that someone's drawing from appendix carry. I appendix carry. If you ever see me out in public, I carry almost all the time. And I appendix carry, which is in the front. Like, basically, right on my way in the front. Straightening your legs, another sign, because you're trying to get that fold out of your gut. He's got a gut.
Get off now!
Now look at him. He's fumbling around with shit. Let's back up. Hold on. Watch him fumble. Something's fumbling.
Get off now!
Still fumbling. Still lifting up his shirt. That cop should have tased him already, dude. He's clearly drawing a weapon. Like, I get it. He's trying to make radio calls. He's trying to see what... He's clearly drawing a weapon right now.
Get off! Step off! Shut it off and step off now! I am! Calm.
He's already dropped the gun. He already tried to reach it. How come you're allowed to carry? Well, the fuck wouldn't I be allowed to carry? Welcome to America, I guess.
Get off! Now!
He's already dropped it. Now watch. He walks around to where it's at. It's in between the seat and the control panel. In between the seat and the control panel. You think I'm a convicted felon?
Tase you, James.
He just grabbed it. Right there it is. You see it? He says, I'm going to tase you, James. And he says, and I'm going to... There's the pistol. He just grabbed it from right there. The cop didn't even see it. He just grabbed it. He says, I'm going to tase you, James. And he says, and I'm going to... I've been arrested. You realize there are more crimes than felonies, right? Have you ever had a traffic ticket? So you're a murderer? Like, I don't understand. Of course I've been arrested.
Damn! Get off! Now!
So he goes around, he sees it. It's sitting right there, and he's going to grab it. He picks it up. It's right there. I guess the cop might think he's reaching for the controls or the keys or something.
James, I'm gonna...
And I'm gonna. And there was a shot right there. Did you hear it? He gets tased. The shot goes off. The guy shoots himself in the hand.
I'm gonna tase you, James. I'm gonna.
So when the taser comes, he pulls his arms back together. Both his hands come together, and boom, he pulls the trigger and shoots himself. So he had his finger on the trigger, obviously.
Drop the gun! It's dropped!
It's dropped. I think it's behind him right now. I think this is it here. That could be a shadow as well, but I think it's right here somewhere. We might see it in a minute.
Send me another unit now. Shots fired. Suspect pulled the gun.
No,
he shot. Stand by.
He tries claiming he dropped the gun. He went to get it. I just dropped it.
For a gun. Got tased. Round discharge from his gun. Start JCA'd another unit. Looks like he got shot in the hand.
That's insane. Isn't that crazy? Tries to pull a gun on a lawnmower flea. And then Austin also sent this one right here is fucking terrifying, dude. It's on a Reddit page, so I'll blow it up for you guys. But look at this shit. So all we get from this is people find a man in a nice car with his kids, and this is what they do. So that's the only intro we get to this video. This is crazy. I get, from what I can gather, is there's like a crackhead woman here. And the crackhead woman is like, that's my car. But clearly it's not. He's in this car with his kids. And everybody there tries to jump in and help. I don't know if this is a setup for a robbery. Like maybe they're a gang or some shit. But everybody there tries to jump in and help the woman and not the dad with his two kids. It's very weird. Watch.
Get your ass out my way. Get your ass out my way. Get your
She said, this is my car. She's on a bike. This is my car.
ass out my way. Court.
I am.
I need to get this car. How did you get this car? Now, she's got no teeth. Maybe she's psychosis or something. But I can't believe how many people jump to help her. And they don't ask. They don't. They're like, is this your car? Is that her car? They just start trying to beat his fucking windows out.
Get off of me.
It's like some Mad Max fucking apocalypse shit, dude. So he drives away. Bitch.
Man, get out the way, man.
Somebody else blocked him.
Press 911.
Max, call.
Now another crackhead is standing here like he's got his hand tucked, like he's got a fucking pistol or some shit blocking the car in.
Call.
I am listening.
This guy on a bicycle. Maybe they're a gang. They're like carjack or something. I don't know. And she's screaming, that's my car.
Walmart on Sprague.
They call 911.
Oh my God.
Now this guy pulls up on a motorcycle. I don't even know where he came from.
Intersection of Sprague and lock your door. Sprague, you got the. Yeah.
That.
What you doing? This is her car. This is not her car. This is not her car.
Dad! Get out of the car.
So he slams that motherfucker in the door. This is not her car.
This is not her car. This is not her car.
Dad.
They're surrounded. How scary would this be, dude?
Hello, we need help. Hey. Man,
Punching the windows. Fucking terrifying, dude.
Oh my God. No.
So he tries to drive away,
Oh my God. Oh my gosh.
thinking they're going to beat the windows in and kill him.
Dad!
And this guy's just riding on the hood now. But never fear.
Oh my God.
They're on the phone with 911.
I can't see anything. They're using bikes to hit my car. They're trying to open my doors. I got 2 kids in the car with me. My name is Lee Allen.
But wait, there's more.
They're hitting my car and I feel threatened for my life. They said my car is hitting my.
There's somebody else punching the windows.
Oh my God.
Yes, I am. I'm headed west on Sprague towards the McDonald's.
Oh my God, no, Dad.
A car tries to block them in. I don't know if you just saw that. There's like a car right here that tries to block them in.
West on Sprague towards the McDonald's.
Oh my God, no, Dad.
Another guy.
Oh my God.
And this guy starts chasing them on the motorcycle.
Oh my God, Dad, the door.
You know this kid is terrified. You can hear it. Look. Chasing them.
Motorcycle.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Like, I got about 6 people attacking my car. Somebody just rode on my hood.
No, Dad.
They're hitting my car with motorcycles and bicycles. I got a...
And as far as I know, there's still a guy on the hood.
Back, Daddy's behind you.
Boom, that's the end. That's all we get. This will probably get copyright claim because Viral Hog bought it, but oh well. That's part of it. That's insane, right? That'd be terrifying, dude. That'd be terrifying. I might give them the car and the kids. I'm just saying. All right, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. Hope you had a good night. Fuck racist pieces of shit. Overtly racist pieces of shit. I don't think that is Z, but that's definitely Ray. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. Please consider supporting the show. Coldbeer.fund, where you can find all the donation links and all the links to my social media. If you don't follow me everywhere, please do. That helps out a lot. Just getting in front of more people, having more followers, having more comments and likes and shares or whatever. That helps out a bunch, guys. So I've got Twitch, Kick, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, Facebook, TikTok, Rumble, and Discord. Follow me on one of those. Make sure. We greatly appreciate it. I'm trying to get back to normalcy now. We'll see. But thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. Support the show if you can, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a good night. Love you. See you. Bye. I've just been posting rage bait on TikTok.
Douchebag happens to see this particular show. You don't have the...
I told people the other day that if you think that Trump doesn't deserve the jet from Qatar, then we should give the Statue of Liberty back to Germany.
You don't have the fork and balls. You don't have the balls.
Okay, Scott.
Only like 2 people caught it. And then someone said, the Statue of Liberty's not from Germany. So I put 9? ? I cracked myself up.
You ain't seen none yet. And they say that I'm a lunatic.
No?
Listen, bitch, I came equipped with a quick wit and a 6th sense for the stupid shit. Where my true believer? Y'all need Jesus. Praise the Lord.
Y'all need Jesus.
False fucking prophets who profit off of gossip. Worshipping Trump's cock and begging for a throat deposit. Swinging fucking meat hammers like Thor in a thong. He's strapped to the shaft, eating his chest like he's King Kong. Starving for attention, I'ma make your gut.
Oh, I don't know. The show tomorrow night, I should be here. My niece graduates tomorrow night, so I'm going to go watch her walk across the stage and check that out. So that should be fun.
5G towers, cause you told him if he did, he get fucking superpowers. Here we go, I think I started some shit.
I've been starting so late lately. I should still be able to do the show. I was just... It doesn't... I think it starts at... Graduation starts at like 8 p.m., so...
Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss him off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in them beds, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. I used to find clues too when I was high on shrooms. I found myself a tunnel that led to Jason Q's bedroom. Opened his closet, I found some of his meat rockets. I strapped them to my shoes and then I flew through the roof. I found myself in orbit strapped to an F-16. High on amphetamine, with Trump in between. Put on a light coat of baby oil and saluted the troops. He tapped me on the shoulder and said, this is gonna be it. Whoa.
Yeah, I'll tell her congratulations.
What? I'll get my files. Wait, what are you doing? Stop. Hold on. Fucking stop.
She's the last of my sister Jennifer's kids. And then, of course, my other sister has a kid that's about about Liam's age. They'll graduate 1 year apart.
Shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in them beds, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't
Have a good night.
none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss him off, it's about
I am not a convicted felon, by the way,
best, you know
in case anybody's wondering.
You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen nothing yet.
Round 3. Down goes Nino. Please say it isn't so. Got him backed up on the ropes, trying to ram it down his throat. Now things are getting rocking. He was doing so well. It's all over. Hands on his shoulders, they ringing his bell. You got Frog News Network doing no damn research. They rework and copy all cocks that came first. 9th inning, 2nd string, and they acting like they know hitters. Ass on slow and bullshit, sending runs to the shitter. All this nonsense on my conscience, it's hard to sleep at night. Who the fuck is in my window with this time of the night? These parasites, these leeches, with all their secret meetings, teaching all you fucking cretins about baby-eating heathens. Believing in reason for no meaning is bull.
That was a late start.
Word, motherfuckers, I hear busting.
Usually starts about the middle of the show.
Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss him off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen nothing yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss him off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen nothing yet.
You don't have those guts because you're a pussy. You're a pussy wearing aviator glasses in your mother's basement. And I won't even give out your dime store handle because that's really